Hi y'all, good morning. At least I hope it's going to be. We're going catfishing today, so grab your poles, grab your snacks. You best get your rain jacket too, because we liable to get wet out here. I got my umbrella with me just in case. But we're going to do some anchor fishing today. Suspend some baits right off the bottom in relatively shallow water, at least for what I like to fish. We're 27 feet deep here where we're at. So we get on them today, it's going to be a dang good time. It's going to be a short line fight, and those are always the most intense because they're the biggest takedowns, and it don't take a big fish to really get to kayak leaning and have a good time. So let me get us baited up. I'm going to get our first bait on here. This is bluegill. One of the most common, one of the most popular catfish baits there is. And it just so happens this is all of the bait that we have today. I mean, not this one piece, but as far as types of bait goes, we're rolling with bluegill today. All morning long out here, this is all we're going to have. I brought my bait rods. I launched in a backwater creek to get out here. And I trolled from the back of that creek out here to the channel where we're at, thinking maybe I'll pick up something. White bass, skipjack, maybe even a largemouth, you never can tell. I didn't catch diddly poo. So we're rolling with the bluegill that I caught yesterday. I'm gonna take these pliers here. I seem to have lost my scissors. I don't know where the heck they're at. We're gonna just improvise today though. We'll take our pliers and just trim these fins off. We're going to do a head and a body section. And I'll show you my rigs here in a second when we get them on. I'm going to go ahead and toss what's left of this tail out. And then once we get baited up, let me cut the fins off this one too. Once we get baited up, I'll show you here on the graph. I left my graph on long enough here so I can show you how we're setting up as far as like the contours go, and explain why I'm here and why we're doing what we're doing. But first, let's get our baits on. So what we've got here is a Carolina rig. I got my Lucky Red sinker on there, swivel, a small section of 80-pound monofilament down to a 10-aught size circle hook. Normally, when I'm fishing cut bait, I like to have a stinger fly rig where this tag in here would be longer with a fly on the end of it. Well, I've grabbed the wrong rods today, folks. So we ain't gonna have no stinger fly rigs unless we end up breaking off and I gotta retie or something. But I like having a plain Carolina rig when I am using live baits. And there's that set up there. When I'm using live baits, what oftentimes happens is a fish will come up, they'll hit that fly, and then they'll knock the live bait off the hook. And usually when I've got live baits, I don't have very many, and so I didn't, I don't want that happening. So anyway, I had a couple plain Carolina rigs tied on because I was using some live baits on my last catfish trip, and well, I left today. I'm in my pedal kayak today, so I'm only fishing 2 rods, and well, I grabbed the wrong ones. It's that kind of morning to start, folks, but it's going to get better. I promise if you're seeing this video, the day got better. So here's this setup again. Same exact rig, just with the body section of the bluegill on there on this one. We'll lower it down 27 feet. I'm going to let that sinker hit bottom. It just hit because we're so shallow. Now I can feel my sinker right there, right? That's my sinker on bottom. I'm gonna reel down just a little bit. We've already got hit over here. We've already got hit. How about that? Okay, well, let's set that up and pick up on her. Oh, he dropped it. That's a good sign though, we already got hit. I was trying to say though, I let that sinker hit bottom, I reel down, raise it up, so now our bait is sitting there just off the bottom, within a couple feet of the bottom. So as these catfish swim along, they're gonna have them baits right in their face. So let me just take a second here. I'm gonna show you the graph, show you how we're set up, and I'm gonna turn that thing off to save on battery life, because we're just gonna be sitting here today. I'm anchor fishing, and I'm sitting out here either one of two things. I'm gonna sit out here till lunch, or I'm gonna set out here till the wind kicks up, whichever happens first. It's gonna be a real windy afternoon. Don't know when it's gonna ramp up, but the wind is coming, folks. So either that or lunch, whatever happens first. But the graph here, you can see the contour lines, right? These contour lines being really tight, really close together signifies a rapid change in depth. So this is over here to our right. You can see the shoreline. It comes off at a pretty steep angle down to here where we're at. And now over here you see the contour lines really wide. There's hardly any, right? Because that's the main river channel and that's where it bottoms out. It really levels out over here. So what we want to do, I want to set up right here, right on the edge of the ledge, right before it starts to bottom out and really come up at the steep angle. And where I've positioned us here on the river is at the top of a bend. Here behind us, you can see this is a nice big long straightaway. Right here, it starts to curve to the left. There's another creek down here. You've got a green buoy right down here and about, I'm terrible at judging distances, but that direction right there, there's another creek that comes in. And so we're just gonna set up here at the top of the bend. This morning, as they kick up the flow at the generators, we'll have a little bit of current flow. We do have the wind blowing downstream right now too, and that'll hopefully get our scent going. And any fish that are down along this bend will be able to lock in on our baits and come up. Also, any fish that are in transition that are working up and down this ledge, most often they're going to follow those contours, follow the edges of the channel. So we'll be able to intercept them like that. Now up here behind us on the left, about, I don't know, quarter mile or so maybe. I'm terrible at judging distance, but there's another creek, and that's the one I launched in back there. I caught some fish my last trip out, caught a piebald, awesome fish, up there, and then I started drifting, or trolling, I didn't have much flow that day, down through here. Caught a fish sporadically here and there. And I finally, after I'd made my way down the bend, I'd got, in this area here, right at the top of it, I'd got a double. I said, I'm gonna come up there and just sit there a little while. I was in my other kayak, I spot locked. I started catching fish. And so I said, you know, I'm gonna come back today and we're just gonna put in some time. I'm anchor fishing instead of spot locking since I'm in this kayak, but we're gonna do that. We're gonna suspend and we're gonna sit here and just see what happens. Catch the fish in transition, catch some fish that are already here on this bend, catch some fish that pick up on our scent trail, whatever, and just have us a morning, y'all. So we've already got one bite that failed to hook up, so that's a good sign that there's something here. But yeah, so 27 feet, where water temps are 66 degrees. We've started to heat up. We're into May now, so temperatures are really starting to heat up. The bite is really starting to get going. So I'm gonna hit the power off button here. Since we're just sitting here, I've just got this 2D graph. There's really nothing more for us to see. When I'm doing this style of fishing, I'm using that graph in conjunction with the map card to get myself positioned how I want when I'm anchor fishing. Because I don't want to just anchor down willy-nilly and hope for the best. I want to put myself in a position where I think fish are going to move through. So I use the graph to help me do that. The 2D along with the map card to just confirm that I am where I think I am, drop anchor, and then I'm done with the graph after that in this style of fishing. So turning it off helps me save on battery, keeps me from having to charge that thing about once every 2-3 weeks, a month sometimes. And so yeah, so in my pedal kayak today, my Old Town pedal kayak I should say, I got a couple of them, but this one here's got 2 rod holders mounted on the front, and that's what we're going to roll with today. These 2 catfish rods, that's it. Like I said, I did bring my bait rods with me here, and I brought a bucket in case we caught a white bass or something else I could keep alive until we got out here. Just didn't pan out today. But otherwise, just 2 catfish rods. Of course, I got my cooler back here. We've got some bluegill. I went out yesterday just fishing off the bank and got us some bluegill for today. Not my favorite catfish bait by any stretch, but the skipjack have eluded me lately. The white bass have been tough. And my last trip out, I was trying to net some shad and I got some, but they were mostly the smaller thread fins. Well, I say small, they're larger thread fins, but still smaller shad, 3-4 inch range. And so I wanted to have something a little bigger than that today, something with a little bit more substance. And so bluegill, or at least the bluegill I got anyway, are definitely a little bigger. Most of them are in the 6 to 7.5. There might be an 8-incher in there or two. I didn't take a measuring board with me when I went bluegill fishing, so I don't really know exactly how long they are, but they're better quality bluegill, above average for public water bluegill. So we're gonna roll with them out here this morning. I'm gonna leave this camera going. I'm just gonna bring you all with me on a real fishing trip today, man. My last catfishing session that I caught that piebald on, I had left my house thinking, yeah, I'm gonna do an uncut video. And I got out on the water and I couldn't hardly catch bait, and it took a lot longer than I thought. And I thought, man, if I do get on some fish, I'm gonna go through the bait I have very quickly. And so I was like, oh, I'll just do an edited video and try to piece something together with whatever fish I get. And of course, that's when you're gonna get a piebald. And I ended up going middle of the trip. I saw some shad up there at that other creek. I'd started the day in the back of that creek netting, and I wasn't hardly getting any shad. Like, I was making a bunch of throws and get a shad here, a shad there. Got a sucker, that's a hit on that head. Fish number 1. All right, y'all. Second bite, first solid hookup. Looks like we're still just a few minutes in. It's a good sign. Get him up here and see what we got. I do have a measuring board with me today. If we get any that's kind of, this one here ain't gonna be worth measuring, but if we get any that's looks like they're in that 28 to 30 inch range, I'm gonna need to put them on my board for a slot tournament that I'm in. I'll explain more about that as the morning goes on, but this one here ain't long enough to get anywhere close to that. He's probably 25, 26 inch range. I'm not gonna fool with him. We'll see ya, buddy. Hi and bye. I'll grab the bucket here. We gotta get another bluegill out. He threw the bait off. How rude of him. We'll leave that bucket up there for a little while. That'll make it easier on us. Let's cut this bluegill up here. I'm gonna take another head. That's 2 bites on the head. So, interesting there. We'll just tuck that little nugget of info away, just in case. I like to, when I'm fishing 2 rods, I like to offer a head and a chunk of whatever bait that I have, just to give a variety. But if I'm loaded up on bait and fish are showing a clear preference to one particular cut, and I'm not opposed to switching both rods over to it, but today we'll probably stick with the head chunk combo. But yeah, that last trip I was trying to net shad in the back of the creek and getting just enough to keep me doing it. And I finally just decided, man, daylight's burning. I want to get out there, and I was anchored down in front of that creek. Of course, I caught that piebald and another fish or 2 there, and I start seeing shad all outside of that creek. Like they're kind of on the edge of the creek mouth there, right up on the shore. And I said, well, I'm just going to go over there and net me some. So once the bite had kind of tapered off at the creek mouth for the catfish, I went over there and made a couple throws and got us a whole bucket full of shad. But they were all 3-4 inch range. And then took off, but you know, again, I spent a lot of time that morning trying to get bait. And anyway, I ended up not doing the unedited video that day and ended up regretting it, because I ended up getting several fish over the course of the morning. But that's how it goes, man. It is what it is. But we'll try it out here today where I'm coming on the water with bait, to each their own. I mean, everybody's got their own preferences. Some people like their bait to be super fresh, and so they want to catch it when they get on the water right before they start catfishing. I certainly like my bait to be as fresh as possible too. However, I don't like showing up to the water and needing to catch bait before I can catfish. That's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, and there's just a lot of times where wherever you're launching at, wherever you're fishing at, it ain't going to happen for whatever reason. Now, if you're in a boat and you can't get bait at your initial spot, wherever you thought you were going to get it at, well, no big deal. You just fire up the outboard and go to spot 2, 3, 4, 5, however many you have to. But when you're in a kayak and your range is limited and it takes so long to get anywhere, if spot number 1, if I put in at that creek that I launched in today, for instance, and I can't get bait, well, we're just SOL, because I'm going to have to make a mile run to the next creek, and then if I can't get nothing in there, well, then what? Now we've wasted a couple hours and still don't have bait. So I like, just personal preference, I like showing up to the water to catfish already having my bait in hand. That way we're ready to roll. Now I would prefer, especially this time of year, water's hitting above 60, I would like to have some skipjack or some white bass, something with some substance to it. Most of our shad here are, even the longer ones here in my area, are thinner. They're like 6-8 inch range gizzards, and they're just paper thin. You don't get a lot of blood and oil and meat on them. Bluegill, kind of the same thing. Like, even if you get a thicker bluegill, like some of the bluegill I've got in the cooler today they're thicker baits, but bluegill doesn't have a lot of oil or blood in it. It's not a lot of scent with the bluegill. This time of year, I want something that's not only got some meat to it, but also got some blood and oil. And skipjack, for the bait fish we have, they are definitely the bloodiest fish. Like, you cut open a skipjack and it's going to bleed. And they're really oily too. You drop a piece of skipjack down in the water, like, you'll see the oil hitting the water and just doing what oil does, just dispersing like that. And so I'd like to have that, but skipjack fishing has been tough this year. It's been really hard to find. I think I maybe caught the entire month of April less than 5 skipjack. I don't remember exactly how many I got, but I think maybe it was less than 5, which is crazy. But they've just now started kind of showing up to the spawning ground. Now this rod, oh, look at him. Look at him. That one's going to pull a little harder. That one's going to pull a little harder right there, folks. He's still going. Y'all, this is fun, man. 27 feet of water means we got about 25 feet of line out. So no matter what we hook into today, it is going to be some awesome takedowns when they happen. And this kayak being a little bit smaller platform, when they hit and start pulling, we're going to lean a little bit, and it's fun, man. It's fun. This one here's one we'll throw on our board. I think he may be a little too long for my slot tournament, but we'll at least put him on there and find out. Fun sizer. I'll tell you what, let's do too before we land him, while he's still swimming around there showing off and looking cool and everything. Let's stick him back in the rod holder a second and get our next bait ready. That way, as soon as we land him and get him unhooked, we'll drop our next bait down before we measure him. Try to work efficiently since we're only going to be running 2 rods. I like to try to, when I'm running 2 rods, I want baits in the water as much as possible. And I want to keep our baits in as good a condition as possible. Like, we will reuse some baits today and on fish that are at least kind enough to give us back the baits, but I want to try to keep them as good as possible, good a condition as possible. Especially when it comes to a bait like bluegill that, again, don't have a lot of blood and oil in it anyway. It don't take long to wash out if you've got current, or if you're getting fish down there, you know, really squeezing it, chomping down on it, it can work the oil and blood out of it real fast too. Okay, fish, come on in here. Come on in here, you old thing. Yeah, folks, hey. Number 2, pretty quick here. You just sit right there and think about your life decisions, fish. Kind of like these people watching the video. They're contemplating their life decisions today, too, of why they clicked on this crap. So let's send that bait down real quick. I'll bust out my measuring board and see how he fits to our slot tournament. I'll tell you more about the slot tournament. I finished 2nd place in the month of April. I got beat on the final day. I took the lead on the final day that morning, and then I got beat in the afternoon. Let's see if this fish will do anything for us. You know what? He won't. Let me set him like this. He's wanting to, sometimes these smaller fish will flare their pectoral fins, and they contort their body, and they're hard to, I think he's going to be about 29 and a half. No, well, he's perfect size like that, but I have to get maximum length out of him, and I can't get him to do his fin right. Doggone, I'm gonna have to set him back up, but I can't get him to. He's flaring that pectoral fin on the right side there, and I can't get him to. I think this one's going to end up being too big when he's like that. When I get maximum length out of him, he's going to graze that 30-inch line, so I can't score him. Get out of here, fish. We could have figured that out 3 minutes ago if he wouldn't have been flaring that fin. Got to be, so for our slot tournament, they have to be under 30 inches. So 29 3/4, because we round down, 29 3/4 is technically the longest fish we can submit. And if they touch the 30-inch line, like that one there, barely grazed it, we can't score it. It's considered over slot. And we have to contort the tail to make sure we are getting maximum length out of the fish. So that one there, once we got his fin positioned to where we could get him full length and all, he was too long. But that tournament is a month long, and I'd swore I was never going to do any more slot tournaments, and then they started them back up again, and they started dangling a kayak in front of us. They're running it for a few months this year, and they're taking your 5 best tournament finishes, and whoever does the best over the season gets a new kayak. And I was like, well, I'm going to get in on that. So I signed up for April there, and I thought going into the month, our scores, it's 10 fish, obviously closest to 30 inches as possible without touching the line. So basically 297 and a half inches is the best possible score. That's maximum score you can get. I thought, we had 30 people last month. I thought it would take around 295 inches. I'd said that in one of the early videos there, and boy, I was close. It took 294. The fella that beat me had 294. I had 293, finished second. I had one fish on my score that was under 29 inches. It was a 28.5 incher. And I got beat. So we're gonna have to up it this month. We've got 36 or 37 people in it this month. So it's gonna take every bit of 295 to do it, which means we've got to catch a lot of fish this month to be able to do it. That's the thing about slot tournaments is it's a little bit deceptive. I think a lot of people get into their first slot tournament and they're like, oh, well, this is just a small fish tournament. I catch small fish all the time. This will be easy. But in reality, it comes down to who's going to catch the most fish, because you just have to sort through so many. I know you go out and you just fish in a normal day and you don't have a measuring board and you're like, oh, well, that fish, that's 30 inches. Oh, that one's 30 inches. Wow, man, I caught 5 30-inch fish today. Well, in reality, you probably caught a 28-incher, a 31-incher. We got one right over here. Let's hope he's either a monster or a 20. No, he's gone is what he is. Did he get her bait? No, he didn't get the bait. Let's send it back down. But you know what I mean? Like, you're going to catch some fish around 30 inches, but are they exactly what you need them to be? Probably not. They're probably, like I said, 28, a 31, a 29, a 27.5. So what you have to end up doing is you have to just keep catching fish, bunches of fish, until you eventually sort through and get the 10 fish that's closest to the score you need. And that's easier said than done. So I think a lot of people kind of get deceived thinking it's going to be easier than it is. I mean, certainly it's easier to catch small fish than it is big fish, but to get the exact size you need, that's tough. So it's just, we gotta reel them in, man. We gotta catch them, hook them, reel them in. The fellow that beat me last month, I don't know him personally. I was told he lives in Ohio and fishes on Sandusky Bay a lot. And if that's true, he's going to be a contender in every one of these tournaments, because Sandusky Bay is a pretty magical fishery. Now, it's channel cats up there, and which you all regular fishing buddies of mine here, you know I'm not big on channel cats, but up there, they have big channel cats. And that Sandusky Bay is loaded with fish. Like, you go out there, I mean, I've got videos on my channel from it, and you catch a lot of fish. When you really get on a school of them, you can sit there and just whack them, man. And it's honestly fun. I'm not big on channel cats, but honestly, if I'm being 100% real with you, I will admit I enjoyed my time on Sandusky Bay. I will admit it. I hate catching a channel cat here, but up there where there's just so many of them and they're so much bigger than what we have here, I did enjoy it. So anyhow, I was told that fellow lives up there. And so if he's a good fisherman and is able to go out there and he's obviously a good fisherman, he won the tournament, but I mean, assuming he has time to go out and put into the tournament, he's going to be in contention to win every single month. Like, he's going to put up a good score. So we're going to need some things to go our way. That fish there, being just a hair over the 30-inch line, didn't go our way. But I mean, I've done well in these type of events in the past, so I'm optimistic that as long as we can just catch some fish, we'll be in contention. I'm going to probably, though, oh, there was a carp right, did you see that? A carp right there in front of us, taunting me. Tag on carp. I carp fished yesterday. Caught 2. Hard times. But I'm probably going to wait and see how this month's slot tournament goes before I sign up for the one in June. Like I said, to win the kayak, they're taking your 5 best scores. And I figure it's going to take at least 3 wins and a couple other top 3 finishes to win that kayak. And so the fella from Sandusky Bay, he already won April. If he was to win again in May, I probably won't fish again any more of them. Because, I mean, I'm going to be, at that point, he would be up. He would already have 2 wins in the first 2 tournaments. At that point, my chances of winning the kayak are pretty much slim to none. And to just go out and fish these tournaments for the heck of it, I'm not that excited about it. I mean, it gets kind of old measuring fish, especially the number of fish that you have to do to sort through. And then, of course, you got to get pictures of them, too, when they do meet the size requirements. And oftentimes, these smaller cats are tough to get them to lay still on a board. It's a frustrating process. So if I'm not in contention to win the kayak after the month of May tournament, I probably won't sign up for any more. There's just not enough money in the pot to make it worthwhile. I mean, each one of these tournaments pays a payout for the winner, but it's $25 entry fees. So there's not a lot of money coming in from entry fees, and then they take $5 of that for administrative fees. So they're basically taking 20% of the pot right off the top. And there's just not a lot of money left in the prize pool, you know? And so like last month, I think they paid 4 or 5 spots. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5. But I finished second place and only won $100 and something. So if I get beat again, and, you know, do you really want to measure fish? I mean, on one hand, like, you're going fishing anyway, and if you can cash in it, I mean, it's extra money. But on the other hand, like, it does take away just measuring fish and putting them on, it does take away some of the enjoyment while you're out on the water still. And then it becomes a balancing act. Like, is the carrot dangling on the end of the stick exciting enough for you to give up some of the enjoyment of doing what you're doing while you're out there? And so having that kayak dangling on the end of the stick as the carrot, yes, absolutely. For the chance of me finishing in second or third place and winning $50 to $100, it's like, maybe not. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes in May. We'll see, can I win? Does that other fellow win? Does somebody else new step up and win? Like, let's see where the points are at after the second event here before making a final decision. But if I'm out of contention, I'd say there's a strong chance that I'm done with it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. That's why I quit doing them before. I hadn't done one in probably over a year. I don't think I'd done any slot tournaments last year, but I just kind of got over it. I'm tired of carrying a measuring board around and stuff. But we'll see how it goes. It would be nice to win that kayak, though. I don't want that kayak. It's a new canoe and limited that they're giving away. I don't want that kayak. But I could get rid of that kayak and get something else. And I do want to try another kayak, and I mentioned it in one of these videos, but I'm very interested right now in the Native Slayer 10 LTE model for a few reasons. And I may have talked about the reasons in another video, so this could be a rerun for some of you, but I'm going to recap it again in case you're new to my channel and kind of what I'm looking for at this stage. So, you know, I've got multiple kayaks right now. I've got my Hobie Pro Angler. that's got the bow mount motor, and you know, it's a big kayak, it needs a trailer, it's heavy. That's kind of my primary kayak for filming YouTube videos, tournaments, stuff like that. And then I've got my Hobie Lynx, which is super lightweight. I took it down to the ocean. It's awesome because it's lightweight, it's easy to pull through the sand. It fits in my truck bed without the need of a bed extender. There's no hatches, so it's unsinkable. Like, it's great for that. And then I have this kayak, which is my Old Town Big Water PDL kayak. This kayak is kind of an in-between between my Hobie Lynx and the Hobie Pro Angler. It's smaller than the Hobie Pro Angler, so you get more of the kayak feel with it, which is important to me because I genuinely enjoy kayak fishing. Like, when we have one of these rods go down and get buried down in the water, like, I want that adrenaline rush of the kayak starting to lean. Like, that's part of it. It's got the pedals, so I don't need the motor and the extra batteries and the extra weight of that. It's just, I enjoy being in a kayak type platform. So this is a step down in size and weight from the Hobie Pro Angler, but it is a little bit more durable than the Hobie Lynx because it's got the roto-molded plastic hull. The Hobie Lynx is very, very thin plastic that wraps foam, that encloses foam. And so that plastic doesn't take much damage to bust a hole in it or crack it. I actually got a puncture wound because I dropped it off the back of my truck and it hit a sharp piece of gravel. That would have barely scratched this kayak, but it poked a hole through the Hobie Lynx that I had to repair. And obviously at the beach, it's not a big deal because you're dealing with sand all the time. But when I'm trying to use the Hobie Lynx here locally, and I've got concrete boat ramps and rocky shorelines, like, it's just, that hole isn't designed. There was no big splash besides. That hole isn't designed to take that kind of punishment. It's more, the Hobie Lynx was designed to be a recreational type kayak, not a fishing kayak, but a lot of people are using it for fishing because it's such a unique platform. The other thing with the Hobie Lynx that I've struggled with is mounting rod holders in such a way that will allow me to catfish. It's fine for me, my ultralight trips, for my saltwater trips, and how I'm setting up in those situations, but like doing what we're doing today, where we're suspending baits, and when fish hit and load up that rod, you're creating a ton of downward pressure on the rod tip, which then in turn creates upward pressure on the rod holder base. In this kayak here, you know, I've got these flat areas here on the hull, and I have that access in the front hatch, so I could drill through the hole and bolt those rod holders in, so those are secure. They're not going anywhere. And this Old Town hull, Old Town makes the best quality hulls in the kayak. That fish is back over here on the left splashing now, taunting us. But Old Town, their kayaks are thick. They're thick plastic, so they can support this kind of application. The Hobie Lynx, I can't drill into the hole because it's just foam in there. There's nothing to, and there's no internal access to get up there and do a backing plate or anything like that. So that is a challenge. So here's where that native Slayer 10 comes in. Here's what's got me strongly considering that kayak. It's a roto-molded hull, so it's going to be more durable than the Lynx. It has flat surface areas by where the pedal drive connects that I could drill in and secure rod holders. It's 10 foot long, so I can fit it in my truck bed without the need of a bed extender. It also has the option of the native, I believe they call it the Sidekick. It's like their version of a Boondocks landing gear. And you can connect it into the gear tracks in the back, so it gives you wheels, basically, to roll it back and forth from your vehicle to the water. I have wheels for my Hobie Lynx, but it's a scupper cart. And so I have to put the kayak on the ground, turn it on its side, put those wheels in, turn it back, which means you got to take everything off the kayak, set it down, and put your wheel. It's a little bit of a, is it hard? No, but it's a pain in the butt? Yes. The native sidekick would help prevent all that. The other thing with the native is it is significantly lighter weight than this kayak or my Hobie Pro Angler. Now, it's more heavy than the Hobie Lynx. The Hobie Lynx is, I believe, 47 pounds for the hull, and then once you put the seat and the pedal drive in, I believe it goes to 65 pounds. The native Slayer, I believe, is 60 some odd pounds with just the hull, and I think it goes to like 85 with the seat and the pedal drive. So you're basically adding 20 more pounds than the Lynx with everything on, which that's the real number. I mean, most people, when you're pulling your kayak from your vehicle to the water or back from the water to your vehicle, you're keeping the pedal drive and seat in. Most people ain't going to make 5 trips to the water and back, right? So your real weight is that, right? Like your hull, your seat, your pedal drive, your accessories, like that's your true weight of a kayak. So the native Slayer is going to come in 80 some odd pounds. This kayak, the one I'm in today here, the Old Town Big Water, this kayak, just the hull weighs, I think, 98 pounds. Throw in your seat and pedal drive, now you're like 120. So you're going to save, I'm going to save like 40 pounds with that native Slayer potentially, while still giving myself an opportunity to haul it without a bed extender. See, this kayak here is 13 feet, and I've got too much of it sticking off the back of my truck. I need a bed extender. So I haul this one on a trailer. And for just a quick grab and go kayak, I'd like to kind of avoid the trailer if I could, now that I have a truck. So anyway, I'm thinking potentially the native Slayer could possibly replace this kayak. And you know, I love this kayak. I love the Old Town pedal drive. I've said before, like the Hobie pedal drive, the stepping motion, I don't like it. I've had problems years ago at giving me sciatica, and I ended up getting piriformis syndrome from pedaling using that motion. Now, since I got the Hobie Lynx, I've not had any issues, and I'm in a lot better physical shape now than I was a few years ago when I had that problem. So I think that certainly helps. Just my physical conditioning being better now helps with that. But still, like if you give me the option of a bicycle style pedal or the Hobie stepping motion, I'm going to take the bicycle style 10 out of 10 times. Now, the Hobie Mirage Drive, the stepping motion, does have some major benefits in certain situations. One being the ocean. Down there in the Florida Keys where I went, hold on, we got a fish. We got a fish right there going down. Oh, buddy, that's another one. That's another one. It's pulling. I'm going to back. Oh, and he let go. I was just going to say I was going to back off my drag a little bit. I ain't going to be able to get the dang rods out the rod holder. Dang, man, he come free. Let's send that back down. That rod gets hit again, we'll switch out that bait. Probably switch it out anyway here in a few minutes, since it's been hit a couple times now. But yeah, the Hobie drive, when I'm down there in the Florida Keys, it's really helpful because sometimes you're launching in places that is just inches deep. And you'll have to move a long ways before you hit deeper water. And so the Hobie pedals, the way they work like fins up there. They move like this. And you can tuck them up under the hull and just kind of flutter kick, just barely move your feet, and they'll do like that and get you through inches of water until you get out into where you can fully extend the fins. When you got a bicycle style, pedal drive, like this one here, it's propeller down there on the bottom. And so it's at a fixed position. And if you're in water that's shallower than what it can run, well, you got to raise up the drive and paddle. Whereas the Hobie, you don't have to do that. The other thing where the Hobie motion is real helpful is when you're fishing in grass. And down there in the ocean, certainly, there's a lot of seaweed and grasses out there on the water. The stepping motion, the fins kind of goes through that grass. It doesn't really it doesn't get hung up. Whereas the propeller drive of the bicycle style, you get your prop all wrapped up with weeds and you got to raise your drive up and clear all that mess off, et cetera, et cetera. Another advantage I just thought of too, off the top of my head, being down there in the ocean, if you hook into something big and it runs up under you, when you've got the bicycle style, like, you just cross your fingers and hope for the best because your drive is down there. Whereas in the Hobie, fish runs up under you, you push your feet forward and tuck them fins right up against the bottom of the hull, the fish can run under you. You're not at risk of cutting your line off or wrapping up in your pedal drive or anything. So there are situations where the Hobie drive is better than a bicycle style pedal drive. But I'll just say, from personal comfort and personal enjoyment on the water, I prefer the bicycle style. It's more comfortable to me. I can pedal for longer distances without fatigue and without any discomfort. Like, I just enjoy it more. So the Native has a bicycle style pedal drive. They were actually the first company to ever make a bicycle style pedal drive. But I have not used the Native pedal drive since I tried out. I'm trying to think how many years. It's probably been 10 years. I had one of their early models on the water, and I didn't really like it. Now, that's not a fair comparison because I'm sure they've made a lot of improvements since then. But that particular drive, I didn't care. They used to have a lot of problems out of their drives, and nowadays, I'm sure they're much improved. With that said, however, the Old Town pedal drive, it's awesome. I mean, this kayak here, I got this one in 2021, so it's right at 4 years old now. And while it hasn't been my primary kayak the last 4 years, I've still used it a lot. I mean, hell, I've probably filmed over 100 videos in this kayak alone, plus all my bait runs and other stuff that haven't been filmed. So I've put a lot of miles on this pedal drive. It still feels smooth as day one, and there's no maintenance to it. Like, you do nothing with this. If you're in salt water, you obviously want to rinse it off, keep the metal from corroding. But otherwise, just use it. Occasionally, once every month or so, I'll take some WD-40 and spray here on the pedals because they'll get a little squeak right there. But as far as like breaking down the drive itself, cleaning, greasing, oiling, you don't have to do anything with the Old Town drive. Nothing. The Native drive, you do have to service yourself. And there's apparently an upper part that you have to disassemble and grease, and a lower part that you have to do. And I think it's like every 75 hours, I read, I think, that you're supposed to do that. So you've got, there's a fish again splashing on our left. Y'all better tell that fish to know his role over there. That's a buffalo. I saw him then. He come back up. Dang old fish. I was trying to catch him yesterday and couldn't get a nary one. But, you know, the maintenance on the Native is one of those things that you just have to take into consideration. So it's a burden that you're going to have to do every 2 or 3 months. You're going to need special tools. You're going to have to buy, they require a certain kind of grease. And if you don't use that grease, it voids the warranty. You have to get some kind, I think it's called a torque wrench, I think. spanner wrench maybe. You see how well I know tools, but it's like a thing and it turns the side, and you have to measure the torque. It has to be like 26 pounds of torque. If you go beyond that, you run the risk of cracking the drive. If it's too loose, then you're going to have problems with it. This fish has got problems over here. He's hooked up. Okay, come on, fish. Got us another one. We'll switch this chunk out after this fish. Even if he gives it back, we're going to go ahead and switch it out. Let's see what we got here. Another blue. I'm hoping we're going to get some flatheads today. I got one on that last trip. I know it's that time of year, so we're going to hopefully bust a flathead today. So far, just small blues. But it's action. That's another one here. We're not going to fool with putting on the measuring board because he's not going to help us. We got a fish like him on our score at the end of the month for the slot tournament. We ain't winning, so if it ain't over 28 inches, I ain't measuring it. I ain't gonna waste time with it. But yeah, that native drive, it just requires you to work on it, and you got to buy the tools that I don't have, so there's extra expense involved, and you know, it's just one of the things you have to take into consideration. But it checks the other boxes, so I would like to try one out. I reached out to Native a couple weeks ago. I sent them a message through Instagram, and I sent them an email through their website. And I finally heard back a few days ago. What I'd sent them was, you know, I told them who I was and that I was really interested in their kayak, and I was wanting to try to get access to one, to borrow one from either a dealer locally or one of their pro staff people that had one. Well, I've butchered this daggone thing. There we go. I think I was going to get that thing tore apart there. I need my scissors. I'm going to leave that top fin on it. I may go ahead and switch that head bait out too. It's been a while. That other one's been down there. But I'd reached out to them and just asked if they would be interested in hooking me up with a dealer or one of their pro staff who would let me borrow that kayak for a few days. And I would film some videos in it. And I thought it would be a situation where it would be a win for everybody. I would get to try the kayak out before I bought it. They would get exposure on my channel into a demographic that they don't currently serve. Their pro staff people are all bass fishermen. Like, they don't reach the catfish market at all. And their pro staff or dealer, whoever it was that would let me borrow one of their demo models or whatever, would get some exposure as well, some free advertisement. I thought it was a win for everybody, but they finally responded to my email through their website, and they give me one line. They just said, "Justin, here are the dealers in your area, and regards." Like, it wasn't, "Thanks for your interest," or, you know, well, nothing. I don't think they give a damn about this market, really. They're focused on the bass fishing demographic, which that's the bulk of the industry. I get it. But nevertheless, that didn't work out. So I did go to my local dealer to try to see one in person, but they don't have any. They didn't have any native kayaks there. They're a dealer, but they didn't have any native kayaks there. And I'm not going to be in a situation where I just go buy one again without trying it, because, I mean, I want to see what the kayak feels like. I want to see what the pedal drive feels like. Like, I want some time in it before I commit. So I guess where I'm at with it now, since I can't get access to one, is I'm probably going to wait. That kayak just came out a few months ago. I'm probably going to wait until a few months, a year or so until I find a deal on a used one. And that way I can buy it used, and if I like it, great. If I don't like it, I can turn around and sell it and get my money back out of it. I don't want to be in another situation like the Bonafide. I was trying to replace my Hobie Pro Angler, my big kayak, with another big kayak, that Bonafide XTR, and I bought it and rigged it out, took it out twice, and I'm like, this kayak ain't for me. It didn't suit my needs. And so I turned around and sell it, and of course I took a loss on it because I'd bought it new, and you know, as soon as you take it off, it's like a kayak's like anything else, a car, a boat, a motorcycle. Once you leave the lot, it's used. You lose some value in it. And so I don't want to be in that situation again. I'd like to demo the kayak before committing. And unfortunately, none of these dealers, these kayak dealers anymore, nobody offers demo days anymore. It used to be a thing. You'd go and they would have a day at a local park or waterfront, and they'd have a bunch of kayaks out there. You go up, sign a release form, and go out there and get some seat time, whatever kayak you was interested in. Got another fish right here on that chunk. And he's dropped it. Let's set it back over. Maybe he'll come back for it. But demo days are a thing of the past. Dealers don't really do that anymore. At least not my dealers around here, none of them do. And now it's kind of, they want you to just show up and buy a kayak, and if you don't like it, well, show up and buy another one. I'm not going to do that. And I don't know anybody that has one of them Slayer 10s because, I mean, all the people in the catfishing community are getting bigger and bigger kayaks. I'm the only weirdo that wants to go smaller. So hopefully it'll work out at some point in time. I'm definitely interested in it. It checks a lot of the boxes I'm wanting to check. I want to see what the pedal drive is like. I want to see what the kayak feels like on the water. I want to see the seat, you know, see, am I comfortable in the seat? Do I feel like if I did catfish in it, could I stand up and land a big catfish without risk of, or worry of rolling it or whatever? So can I anchor it? Could I anchor down in some current? I mean, I've got questions like that, and all of those questions can be answered with a demo. But I can't demo it. I really thought Native might be interested, just, you know, because again, I thought it was it wasn't like I was asking for a free kayak. I wasn't asking for a discounted kayak. I'm willing to pay full price for it. I just want to try it out. And that just didn't appeal, I guess. But eventually I'll find a good deal on one, or I'll find a dealer that's willing to let me try it out. I may try Raccoon Creek. That was another idea I'd had. Raccoon Creek Outfitters. That's where I'd went to get that Bonafide. The owner, Dustin Hoy's a great guy. He's been sponsoring the catfish tournaments that I've fished in. And they've contributed a lot of money to the sponsorship of the tournament trail. And so I like supporting his company anyway, and he is a Native dealer. But he's 6 hours away from me. So it's not like I can just take a quick drive down to the shop. Like, that's a commitment to go 6 hours each way to do it. But I thought next month, that daggone buffalo is back over here taunting us again. You tell Buffalo over there, I've about had enough of him. But next month, we have a tournament, in-person tournament at Sandusky Bay there in June. And I thought I might reach out to Raccoon Creek there, Dustin, and see if they have a demo model available of that kayak. Maybe I could go try it out on my way up to fish the tournament, or on my way back or something. I don't know if he has a demo model of it or not. But that might be an option if I can work that in. I don't think it'll be too far out of the way to go do that. And if I was going to buy one, I'd prefer to buy from him anyway, because they've supported the trail, and I want to support companies that support the trail. I've been fortunate to win quite a bit of money in them tournaments, and so I've won a lot of the money that Raccoon Creek has used to sponsor. So I'd like to, if I'm going to spend some of that money, I'd like to spend it ideally at a place that has contributed it, you know, give that money back. But yeah, the bottom line though is, folks, the older I get, the more I long for maybe it's nostalgia, I don't know, but just long for the old days. Like when I started kayak fishing, things were different, man. I spent 6 years, I had a native ultimate paddle kayak. I was in that one kayak for 6 years. It was a 2007 model. Paddled that thing ever 30 inches wide, and man, it was a fun experience fishing out of that. Now, I don't want to go back to paddling. I like the pedals. I like the expanded range it gives me. I like the fact that I control with rods in front of me. When you're paddling, it's tough to fish with rods in front of you because your paddle blade, when you go forward, is possibly hitting your rods, or if you've got them really far forward where you're not going to hit your rods, then your lines come back in and your risk of hitting your line and cutting it with your paddle blade. So you have to most times you're going to troll, you got to have your rods behind you, which then you can't watch your rods. And so the pedals, it fixes that problem. You control with your rods in front of you. You don't have to worry about that. You physically feel better pedaling because your legs are a bigger muscle group than your arms and your shoulders, so you can go longer with less fatigue. And I prefer the pedals at this point. But I want a kayak that gives me the kayak feel. Like, I love my trips in this thing. I love my trips in the Hobie Lynx. They're just so much more enjoyable than my trips in the Hobie Pro Angler. And not that it's still fishing, it's still fun, but you don't get the full kayak experience when you're in a super stable vessel. I want a kayak that is stable enough. I want it to be stable enough that if I need to stand up and throw a cast net, I can do it. If I want to stand up and pee, I want to be able to do it. But I don't want it so stable that I can do cartwheels on it. Like, I don't want something that's like standing up in your living room floor, because then why not just get a boat and have more space all the way around? Like, I want something that's going to give me the kayak fishing feel. But nowadays, I want to keep it kind of simplified as far as, especially transport. Like, it's so nice. I've had a compact car. Gosh, I bought a Honda Fit it's when I started travel nursing. 2011, I bought a Honda Fit. I sold my SUV and I got that Honda Fit. And I drove it, and I still have a Honda Fit today. I ended up, that 2011 model, I crashed into a deer a couple years ago, and I got another Honda Fit, a 2020 model. And I still have it, but I got a truck last year. And so I had been, in my Honda Fit, I'd been pulling a trailer for my kayaks all these years, and which was great for that, because a small trailer and kayak behind that Honda Fit, it tows it easily, and you get 32 to 35 miles a gallon towing the kayak and trailer. Is awesome. But I got a truck last year, and I'm going to tell you, it was really nice When I took that Hobie Lynx down to the beach, and I didn't have to have a trailer, and I didn't have to have a bed extender, you can park it anywhere. It's nice being able to do that. And so I kind of, it's not that I want to get rid of this kayak per se, but if I can replace it with something comparable that's smaller, that won't require me to use a trailer or bed extender, and something that's a little bit lighter weight and easier to get on and off the water, well, why not? I mean, I love this kayak, but I mean, if I can get the comparable experience with something that's better suits my current needs, then great. Now, I don't know, some of you out there right now might be asking, well, Justin, let's say you get a native Slayer 10 and you like it. Would you get rid of the Lynx? That's a really good question. I don't know. I love that Lynx. Of all of the kayaks that I have caught fish from, that Lynx is probably the most fun experience. To be hooked up to something big in it, the whole design, because it's like a paddleboard type shape, you glide across the water, so a fish can really get you pulling, man. So I don't know. And my pilgrimages down to Florida, that's become a yearly thing. The Lynx is really nice down there. I mean, that extra weight savings in the sand is huge. The fact that you can't sink the Lynx is huge. So I don't know if I would or not. I mean, the native Slayer, certainly you could take it down there, but again, you've got the prop drive. So the real shallow areas is a problem. The weeds are a problem. It's got the front hatch. I don't know how, I haven't seen any reports that I've read online of people having any issues with water getting in that front hatch of the native Slayer 10, but it's one of the things you wouldn't really know until you got out there in rough water. But it is a potential entry point for water in the ocean, and so I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if I would or not. I wouldn't sell the Lynx right away, but it may be a situation where maybe I take the native down to the beach at some point and see how it does. And if it does okay, then maybe I sell the Lynx. But I will say this, if I liked the native Slayer and I know I can put rod holders on it how I want to. I've looked at the hole. I can do that. It probably would get me to sell this one for sure. Now you might be saying, well, Justin, doesn't Old Town have a 10-foot model? They do. They have the PDL 106 model. And I've looked at it and I'm not interested. And I'll tell you a few reasons why after this buffalo comes up and taunts us here. I'm not interested in that PDL 106. It is of a few reasons. First off, it's heavier. That kayak is over 100 pounds with pedal drive and seat. So you're 20 pounds heavier than the native and 40 pounds heavier than the Lynx. So it's a heavier kayak right off the bat. And that's just because of the hull. Again, Old Town hulls are just better quality. They are the best quality hulls on the market, in my opinion. And that's why you don't see people online griping about their Old Town having cracks or warranty claims and this, that, and you rarely ever see anything out of Old Town because they're so well made. But that causes their kayaks to be a bit heavier. And for what I'm wanting, a 10-foot kayak that I can grab and go, ease of transport, that extra weight, that extra 20 pounds over that native Slayer, I'm like, yeah, it ain't really worth it. The other thing, the front of the hull, I need to be able to mount them rod holders up front. So your pedals are here, right? And like you're going your forward pedal stroke is here. If I've got a rod holder anywhere from here back, my rod butts are going to cut into the pedals. So I need them forward of the pedals. Well, that Old Town 106 model, the way the hull design is, like there's not a flat surface area to be able to mount a rod holder base on that kayak. So I couldn't do that. So that's an automatic deal breaker with that right there. The other thing too is, again, the ease of transport. With that Old Town 106, you're going to have a cart that's going to require you to physically put the kayak on it, and I just don't like those style carts. I don't like. I would rather have like the native version of the Boondocks. Those just I would prefer that. And you can't put that on with the 106 without voiding the warranty of the hull. So that's the reason why I'm not going to consider the Old Town 106. It's a nice, I haven't been in it, but I'm sure it's a nice kayak just because of the Old Town quality and obviously the Old Town pedal drive, which is awesome. But it's not a kayak I'm considering. And there's a bunch of 10-foot kayaks on the market. But I'm not interested in any of the lesser quality kayaks. I want good quality. This is what I do. I want good quality gear. So I'm not interested in the lesser quality brands. I'm not interested in even better quality brands that have inferior pedal drives. And I'm not going to trash any companies, but I've never heard anybody say anything good about the Jackson pedal drive. I've never heard anybody say anything good about the feel-free pedal drive. The Vibe kayaks they basically use the old original version of the Hobie pedal drive where the patent expired. So when it comes to pedal drives, I either want the Old Town PDL, the Hobie Mirage drive, or I am willing to consider the native Propel drive. Just because, they were the original bicycle style, and so they've had a lot of time. They've had a lot of time to perfect that drive. I'm willing to give it a chance now. But otherwise, I'm not going to... When you see literally everybody complaining about these other drives, it's like, why do I want to... If everybody's got a problem with it, my experience ain't going to be no different. So that's where I'm at with it. But who knows if anything will happen in the short term, just because I can't get access to that kayak. Can't even look at one in person, since the local dealer don't have any. If this kayak here, and you might say, well, Justin, what's the big deal with just putting your bed extender on? Because I have a bed extender. When I took this kayak to Louisiana, I had a bed extender I bought there on Amazon and put it on, and it's fine. But if any of y'all have put on a bed extender, it's kind of I'm lazy. Okay, when you get right down to it, I'm lazy. It's a process. You got to put it on, slide it in there, tighten it down and everything, and then let's say I want to fish in this kayak today. I got to put the bed extender on. Tomorrow I'm going to go in my Hobie, so now I got to take this kayak out, bed extender off, hook up the trailer again. Like I want everything to be easy peasy. And without that bed extender, like my Hobie Lynx, I want to go Hobie Lynx. I back the truck up. I've got that utility cart. I made a video on it there. Perfect height for my truck bed. Slide the kayak in. I get home, slide it back out. Now I'm ready to hook up the trailer. Easy peasy. Everything's fast. I want speed, So... I know that's silly. I know it's silly. You just take the damn bed extender on and off. I don't want to. Plus, here's the other thing. I'd like to get rid of that bed extender. I'd like to get rid of it. So if I have a 10-foot kayak, and I don't have this one anymore, I don't have any need to ever have that bed extender again. And so, like, right now, that bed extender is taking up a bunch of space in my shed. I could free up that space. Just one less thing. The more simple you can, the more simple or simpler. I don't know the proper grammatical. You know what I'm trying to say. The more simple you can keep something, just the better it is, in my opinion. If you can limit your barriers to getting on and off the water, you're going to be more likely to go more frequently, and it's just... And too, when you are... Because I used to have the Hobie Outback. I've got a bunch of videos on my channel when I was in it from a few years ago. I had the Boondocks landing gear on it. And so what I would do, I hauled it on a trailer, but then I would roll it down to the water oftentimes. Instead of just backing in and wet launching, I'd just roll it down. Especially on like busy boat ramp days and stuff when you've got to wait. I didn't have to wait at all. I just hop out on the shore, roll that thing up to the trailer, load it up, and go. It's awesome being able to do that. But that Hobie Outback, I think it was comparable weight to this kayak here that I'm in today. I think the whole weight was 90-something pounds, and then time you add in the seat and the pedal drive, it's a little over 100 pounds. And it was manageable with the Boondocks landing gear wheel system, very manageable. But you get out of the water, let's say you're in flip-flops, because I like wearing flip-flops a lot, and your feet's wet and you got to walk up a ramp. You slipping and sliding, pulling that thing up there. The lighter the weight, I mean, the Slayer, for instance, 85 pounds versus, say, this kayak here. I mean, you're talking about a big percentage of weight difference. Big percentage. And it wouldn't be like I'd be carrying a bunch of gear in that thing either. I mean, if I took it on a bait run, I'd have a bait cooler, which I might have to carry up separately. But otherwise, I mean, I'd be keeping that thing pretty simple. A basic graph, couple rod holders, and that's it. I don't carry a ton of tackle with me. I wouldn't be putting a motor on it. I wouldn't be having a battery for the motor, obviously. So it wouldn't be a lot of extra weight that I would be adding on after the fact. I would keep it very lightweight and simple. I do think, as far as adding stuff on, accessories though, I am probably going to add another transducer for that graph on my Hobie Lynx so that I can, because like that graph there, I've got a transducer on this one and my Hobie Pro Angler, and I can switch that graph back and forth. Probably going to get another transducer for the Lynx if I can find one. They don't make that graph anymore, but I can probably find one on eBay, I bet. If I'm going to do any kind of catfishing in the Hobie Lynx that's going to require me to be moving, I need to be able to monitor my speed, and well, even like today where we're set up anchoring, I need to be able to make sure I'm anchored where I need to be. So I need to have a graph on there for catfish. It doesn't matter for ultralight fishing. It doesn't matter when I'm down there in the ocean doing what I like to do. But for catfishing, I need a basic graph. So I'm going to probably rig that up on the Lynx at some point here in the near future. I said I wasn't going to. I wanted to keep it just bare bones, as basic as possible, but I'm probably going to go the graph route on there. Because what I'm thinking about doing on the Lynx, even though I can't mount, that fish is right here beside us again, man. He's taunting us. Even though I can't mount the rod holders as securely as I would like, what I may do is, what I am going to do, matter of fact, is just change my approach when I go out in that kayak. Boy, he is just taunting us, man. It's that dang buffalo. I think it's the same one, too. He's making fun of me for not catching him yesterday when I was trying to catch him. Now I got the camera pointed that way, he ain't coming back up. Old fish. Dadgummit. But yeah, what I think I'm gonna do with that lynx is just change how I fish a little bit. Maybe not suspend, maybe not anchor, but maybe I'll drag, but drag with one rod. That way, when it gets hit, I can instantly grab it. And, you know, it'll take away the risk of any damage to the hull from too much pressure getting put on one of them gear tracks, or, you know, obviously I can't drill into it. So I've got some ideas for it as far as a rig and pulling it and how we'll do it to try to catch fish and stuff. But it will require me going down to one rod. I wouldn't want to try two on it, at least not in the beginning, till I get some things dialed in. But that's probably upcoming. The thing is, and this is where these slot tournaments kind of hinder me from doing what I want to do, because like I talked about, it's a numbers game with these slot tournaments. Like, you got to catch a bunch of fish, right? And the April tournament there, I got on the carp spawn, and so I took a couple days for that. And could that have been the difference in me winning and losing if I had went catfishing those days instead of carp fishing? Finally, we got another catfish. Oh, he thought better of it. But those 2 days I went carp fishing could have been the difference between winning and losing. And when I'm in these tournaments, I feel compelled to spend my time doing what is going to help me win, and not necessarily doing the things that I want to do when I want to do it. And so it's hard to bring the lynx out and experiment a little bit, only fishing one rod, when I know that same day and time I could be fishing in a situation and setup that's going to have potential to produce way more fish. If it wasn't in a tournament, it wouldn't matter. But we'll see. We'll play around with it at some point. I did take the lynx out the other day on a bait run. I unfortunately didn't get any bait, but I took it out anyway. Let's see if this fish here will get him a bait. All right, that one may be hooked up there. Don't go back there toward my anchor rope, fish. He headed that way, didn't he? I got a dumbbell back there off the back of the kayak. That's my anchor today. It's another, is that a blue? Blue or a channel there, I can't tell. I think that's a blue. Another one there, I don't want to fool with measuring though. Where's your bigger kinfolk today, Blue Cat? We ain't had a good quality fish yet. We've had several Evians, but nothing good quality. We had that 130 incher that we put on the board. Let me see if I can get a bigger bluegill out of here. At least they are eating the bluegill. That's good. Not my preferred bait. Like I said, I'd rather have us a big hunk of skipjack on right now, or a white bass, but we just got to take what we can catch right now. until them skipjack move a little bit where I can reach them, where I can get access to them. Ain't at that point right now. I think they're everything seems to be a little delayed. I don't know why that is. This area of the river I'd talked about, I'd come out here early April to check it out. Because in years past, I've had some days where I've had some really incredible sessions for both big blues and big flatheads on this stretch of river in early April. But the last couple years, it just wasn't worth a damn, you know, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, I come out a few weeks ago there, early April, and I caught some fish. I got enough. I got a big fish, a couple big fish, and it was enough to get me at least intrigued about the possibility that there was some fish going to be working through this area or hanging out in this area, but it wasn't like it used to be still. And I come out there, of course, a few days ago, and we got the piebald, and I ended up getting several fish, and I got that flathead, and I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe they're just a little late getting here. Maybe, don't know why, but it's end of April, early May that these fish are here instead of early April like it used to be. And skipjack, normally the areas where I'm getting them after the first wave of them is coming off the shoals, I start getting them in a place. I've been going up there, they ain't been there. But from what I've been told, they're just now spawning, and so they're a little bit later too. I don't know why that is. We warmed up quicker this year, but things are just a little behind, it seems like. So maybe the fish are too. That's why I'm kind of wanting to come back and try this area again today. And today certainly so far hasn't went like the last trip. I don't know. I mean, how long have we been at this? We've got a few fish now in the first hour and a half, so it's not... I guess the last trip I'd caught that piebald there first thing. So my day was made. So I was a little bit more optimistic, I guess. I feel like it's starting to rain again. Am I imagining that? I feel like my neck's getting wet. I may have to bust out the umbrella. The wind's picking up a little bit too. It's blowing this way. It's got the kayak spun. They're supposed to turn on some generators at the dam this morning, but until they ramp up the flow, we're not going to be noticing it. It'll take a while. And if this wind picks up, we may be gone before then anyway. I don't know how long I'm going to fish today. I'll either go till about noon or until it gets obnoxiously windy. One of the two. I do want to do some more dragging again here soon. This is my favorite way to fish, suspend fishing. But I'll be the first to tell you that lately, this hasn't been producing too terribly well. My last trip out there that we got to piebald was my best suspend fishing session in quite some time. I've been doing better dragging. And I don't know why I've done so poorly suspend fishing this year. Wrong place, wrong times. I don't know. But it just hasn't really went well for me this year, suspend fishing. I don't have a good explanation as to why. But dragging, the days I've spent dragging, I've done well. I've caught more fish, I've caught big fish. It's just dragging's not a good way to get flatheads. And this time of year, we got water temps above 60, that flathead bite starts to really pick up. And I catch a lot of flatheads suspending, whether I'm anchored like I am today or just drifting. I catch a lot of flatheads suspended. And I catch a lot of flatheads with anchor down and baits cast out on bottom too. But I don't catch them dragging very often. And so I'm conflicted on that. I mean, I want to do what works and what's going to catch us fish. And if that's dragging for the day, then we drag. But I also don't want to limit our chances of catching flatheads either, because I really want to. This is spring and fall is when I'm going to have the best chance at catching my biggest flatheads. From now through the end of May, historically, I have caught some big flatheads. And then again, usually October, November, get on them again. I mean, you can catch them year round here, obviously, in our climate. But I mean, as far as like your big trophy specimens, mid-April to the end of May, that 6-week stretch there, and then again, mid-October to the end of November. Could be earlier or later, depending on our weather, water temperatures, things like that. But that time period is, you got about 6 weeks in the spring and about 6 weeks in the fall where the bulk of your trophy flatheads, or at least for me anyway, are going to be caught. Now, I'll bust a random big flathead other months of the year, but I guarantee you, if you went through my phone right now and just pulled out pictures of trophy flatheads that I've caught, I'd be willing to bet you probably at least 75% of the trophy specimens have been in those time periods that I just told you about. It's just, for whatever reason, those are prime times to, and those it's not like you say, well, Justin, why are they eating now in those time periods and not in others? They are eating in others. They're eating year round. I mean, your northern bodies of water, where the water temperatures get colder, flatheads will go dormant. But here, me living in East Tennessee, that just don't happen. They'll slow down in the winter, especially if you have a cold winter. Our water temps get down in the 40s for a while. They'll slow down. But I'll still pick off some flatheads in the winter, even then. So, I mean, they're eating year-round is what I'm getting at. It's just, for how I like to fish, for where I like to fish, the time periods I told you, those just work better. I've got a much better chance of success during those time periods. And I'd be willing to bet you money that 75% of my biggest flatheads have come during those time periods. And on cut bait, too. Not on live baits. That's another thing people used to tell me all the time. Just, you got to use live bait. You need to use live bait more, catch more flatheads. I actually catch more blues on live bait than I do flatheads. I swear, if that buffalo comes up one more time over here taunting us, I don't know what he's all around us over here. I thought about trying to keep some in bluegill alive that I caught yesterday and bringing them out live today. I probably should have, but I'd really hoped to catch something on my bait rods coming down through here and stick it in that bucket till we got down here. And the other thing, too, that maybe I messed up on today, certainly thought about it, is our positioning. I got out here a little bit later because of the rain. It was raining. I woke up at 5:30, and it was raining at my house, and so I let the rain pass, and that got us out here a little bit after sunrise, but it's a cloudy day. Oftentimes your morning bite will last a little bit longer on cloudier days. But we could have fished either one of these creek mouths, either the one above us or the one below us. I just thought the creek mouth above us, I don't think fish hang out there. I think they go in and out of there to eat, and then they will retreat back down to this river bend, which is the deepest water in this area of the river. So I thought, since we're getting out here later, and since this is where I got the bulk of my fish at on the last session, I would come back here and fish that had maybe been up in that creek as they come back down. We'll be here ready to intercept them. Fish that working up late, we're going to intercept them. Anything that's just moving along the river, we'll obviously have a chance at. And fish that are just kind of hanging out down here on this bend, we're going to have a chance at. But when I'm doing this style of fishing, I don't like moving. A lot of people run and gun. They anchor down, sit there 15 minutes, 30 minutes. They don't get bit, they move. I don't like doing that because it's fine if you're in a boat because you can cover water so quickly. But with us in a kayak, especially today in the pedal kayak, like, I can't go anywhere quickly. I pull that anchor, I reel up my lines, I pull my anchor. There's a minute or so. Then we got to pedal somewhere else, 3.5 mile an hour casual pedaling pace. So you're looking 18 to 20 minutes per mile at that speed. So like, how far are you going to run? Then once you get there, you got to drop your anchor down again. You got to get your lines reset. Like, it takes time. So if you're going to be fishing for a few hours and you hit 3 or 4 different spots, look how much time you've wasted without lines in the water. I would rather put all my time into one spot that fish are going to either work through or be hanging out at. And I tested that theory a few years ago. 2019 actually was the year. And all them videos are on my channel. But I spent the year fishing not the same spot, but like when I would go out on the water and choose a spot for that day, I would put in the entire session on that one spot. I wouldn't move. It was the best year of fishing I ever had. I caught so many big fish there that year, and it was oftentimes I would catch fish that I'd be sitting on a spot 2 or 3 hours, nothing. And then all of a sudden, it's like they turned on or a school moved through and you've got rods going down. And I caught a bunch of big fish that in previous times I would have never caught because I would have done been gone. I would have fished for 30 minutes, not got a bite, pulled anchor and moved. But because I rode it out, that damn buffalo, he's coming up again right there. He's eating something off the surface. I don't know what he's getting. But because I rode it out in those situations, I ended up catching so many more fish. I had a good time that year. I've since gotten away from it a little bit. I don't do this style every trip. Part of that's because of YouTube. Like, you got to mix it up a little bit, make the videos a little bit more palatable for people that don't necessarily want to or like to fish like this. But I still, if I have a choice, this is what I want to do. But I'll admit, it's not the best technique to do all the time. There are time periods where it works better than others. Situations that it works better than others. It's not a shallow water technique. This is about as shallow as I want to go. I don't want to do 20 feet and less. I don't really want to do this. There are some places it's like 15, 16 feet deep. I've done it and had some success, but it's more of a deeper water technique. That wind's starting to pick up, y'all. It's a little chilly today, too. I wish the sun would pop out a little bit, warm things up. That wind is chilly today. I got my sweatshirt, which I took off. I had it on, and I started pedaling. I was getting hot, and so I took it off, but now we've just been sitting here, and the wind's blowing. Getting a little chilly. I need me something warm to drink, warm up my insides. You know what I've been hooked on lately? Chocolate milk. I went a long time without drinking any milk. Like, I mean, I had milk as a kid and stuff, cereal, and I'd occasionally eat it as an adult, get a bowl of cereal or something. But then I got off milk for years. I guess I started thinking about it. I'm like, why am I drinking cow hormones? Like, isn't that kind of weird? Like, how did we as humans start doing that? And I just got away from it. But for some reason, I had a hankering for some chocolate milk recently. And I got some. And now I've been drinking it a lot. I've pretty much got off the Pepsi. I don't hardly, well, I'll have one. If me and my girlfriend go and get our toes done at the Asian spa, they always offer you a complimentary drink, and I'll get a Pepsi there because, I mean, it's spa day. We're pampering ourselves. But I don't have, or if I go to like a fast food restaurant or something, not a lot of drink options there, of course, so I'll get a Pepsi or Coke, whatever they have available. But otherwise, I don't really drink those too much anymore. I've kind of gotten away from it. But I've been back on a chocolate milk kick lately. And there's not as much sugar in chocolate milk as there are in sodas, but there's still a lot. And I'm wondering too, like, so I like the Mayfield's chocolate milk. The lesser off brands ain't as good, but the Mayfield's chocolate milk's really good. How do they mix it up to where you don't have to shake it or stir it? That it's just evenly chocolate all the way through the whole gallon of milk. I'm not going to acknowledge that buffalo that is splashed beside us. I'm not going to acknowledge him. But yeah, it's amazing. You don't have to shake it, stir it, just pour it in a glass, and you've got chocolate milk, chocolatey goodness. I don't know why Mayfield's is so much better too, but it is. It's way better. But yeah, I've been on a chocolate milk kick lately. I don't know why. I guess just part of my second childhood, midlife crisis. It continues. Chocolate milk and action figures. These tariffs, if they persist, that may be what finally breaks me of my midlife crisis and action figures. You regular viewers have heard me talk about the wrestlers that I'm into, wrestling figures and stuff, and all these nerds that collect toys and stuff, they've been all over the interweb complaining because the tariffs, all these toys are made in China. And so action figures that are currently $20, $25, the next batch of them that comes in from China is going to be $40 to $50. And so they're all up in arms about it. And of course, I ain't paying, it's hard to believe I'd pay anything for an action figure, but I definitely wouldn't pay $50 for one. So maybe that is what finally breaks me. Doggone, man, that dang buffalo, he's circling the kayak and just continues to taunt me. I went out yesterday and didn't catch but one. Well, I filmed a video. I caught one carp. Caught several catfish. One carp. And then I did my channel members video. I was doing an update for them. People in the Kayak Catfish Club on YouTube. I do members from them. Oftentimes around my house, but sometimes too I'll do from the water. And so I'd done a video from the water from them. And I caught a carp with them. So I caught a total of 2 carp yesterday. But it was a huge difference in the carp, man. Huge difference, because last week they were spawning and they were everywhere. I mean, hundreds of fish, so easy to catch. And I went back yesterday because I wanted to see that same area. I was like, will there be any spawning fish left? Will there be another wave of spawning fish come through? After the spawn's over, how many of those fish will stick around? Will there be more like catfish and bass and other species move in to eat the carp fry that hatched from their eggs that were laid during the spawn? Like, I had a lot of questions. So I went back and I hit that same creek that they were spawning in. And like I said, I caught catfish. Good morning for catfish, but for the carp, not so much. So this video today will come out before that video. I'm spacing the carp videos out. I posted one last week. I'm posting day 2 of me fishing the spawn will come out after this, and then the following week, yesterday's video will come out. So everything's kind of out of order right now. I normally do my videos in sequential order, but I didn't want to stack a bunch of carp videos up back to back to back. So I decided to space it out a little bit. But normally I prefer doing everything in sequential order. That way, those of you that like to follow along on my adventures can see things as they happen. I'd like to see a fish go down, man. The bite, I feel like, is just kind of, we got bit instantly. And then now I feel like we've had a pretty good break between bites. Maybe it's a bluegill issue. Let's put on a different bluegill maybe. We'll switch out both baits. I don't know. We've had that weather system come through, and it was, like I said, it was raining this morning, and the wind is supposed to ramp up through here soon today to, I guess, blow the rest of that system through. So is that potentially affecting the bite? Maybe. Is it just poor bait on our end? Maybe. You know, this bait can make a difference, that's for sure. I'm cutting on this lid of my pedal drive here too, by the way, because I don't have a cutting board in this kayak. I thought I had one in my cooler, but apparently I don't. I must have put it in my links. So only thing I can figure. Well, I need my scissors back in this. They're in my links too, my scissors. Using the pliers is doable, but not easy. All right, well, let's reel in here. See if we can switch out these baits, and maybe that'll help our calls a little bit here. It certainly can't hurt. But you can see the bluegill. When you look down in there, like that meat right there, you squeeze it, like there's just a little bit of blood there. Like these things wash out so quick, and they're just not a lot to them. Even this one that we just cut, I mean, it's just not a lot of blood in the meat. Not a lot of scent for them fish to pick up on and find. But if they work through here, we're going to be ready for them. I mean, we've got it in their path. It's just a matter of getting some fish to come through. Now let's get this one. It's getting bright enough out here too. I'm gonna have to bust out the shades in a minute. I need my sweatshirt and some shades. Put this piece on. All right, down it goes. All right, folks. Got fresh bait on. Can't use that as an excuse now while we ain't catching fish. We can talk about the type of bait. We can't talk about the freshness of it because it's good and fresh now. Trying to dry my hands off on that wet tide. It's still soaking wet from from the rain. All right, give me a second here, folks. Bear with me while I get a hold of my shades here. There we go. Hair on there, more hair. Looks like cat hair. Old Martin Luther kitty got near my sunglasses, I guess. Here's an update for you, and for those of you that's been following along on the never-ending saga that is my life. I took in my neighbor's cats, 2 of them anyway, last fall. And they have fully adapted. The orange one, Marty, we call him, short for Martin Luther Kitty, he is fully adapted to the indoor lifestyle. In fact, he doesn't even want to go outside anymore. He will occasionally go out on the porch for a couple minutes, and then he's pawing at the door ready to come back in. He is fully acclimated and fully content being indoors. The other cat, and we call him Midnight, he, on good weather days, likes to be outside. So we let him out, and this cat is also, while he enjoys being outside, he is adapted to the indoor lifestyle, because he will no longer pee or poop outside. He wants out first thing. You let him out, and he will come occasionally and be pawing at the door, ready to come in. You let him in, he goes to the litter box, does his thing, and then he's at the door. He's wanting to go back out. This cat is such a diva. He doesn't want to pee or poop outside anymore. He wants to come in to use the bathroom and to eat, and then he wants to go back out until it gets dark. And when it gets dark, he's ready to come back in. Them dang cats, though, they're something else. And they'll fight. There's two male cats, and they're both neutered, but they still fight. I guess it's a dominance thing. But they'll fight and chase each other and act like they hate each other in the evenings there. When we're eating dinner and watching TV programs before bed, they'll just act like they hate each other. And then when you get up in the mornings and you go in the living room, they'll be snuggled up to each other. We've got little cat beds in there. They each got, I got 2 beds because, they weren't getting along. It didn't seem like they were. They never use both beds. They sleep in the same bed together. It's an odd relationship. They hate each other until it's time to go to sleep. then they want to be right on top of each other. But it's turned into a pretty good situation. My girlfriend, she never grew up with animals. Her sister has really bad allergies, and my girlfriend has to take allergy shots too, because the hair or the dander or whatever gives her problems. But she has took a liking to these cats. She won't admit it, but she's bonded with them. Now the dog, forget about it. Daphne's too hyper and too wild and too rough. But the cats, like, my girlfriend likes them cats. She loves them cats. She's attached to them, whether she'll admit to it or not. We all are at this point. And they get along with Daphne too. The neighbor girl, she had a big dog. I can't remember, like a husky or something. One of them big dogs with the blue eyes. She had one of them. Now, when she moved, she took the dog with her, left all the damn cats to just starve, but took the dog with her. So them cats was used to being around, not only used to being around dogs, but used to being around big dogs. So they've never been fearful of Daphne. And Daphne, she don't really mess with them. Now, at my parents' house, Daphne will get after their cats because their cats don't like being messed with. And so they'll run from her. And because they run, Daphne will chase. But, you know, our cats now, like, they don't give a damn about Daphne. So Daphne will occasionally, she'll go up and sniff them and then go on. Like, she just don't, that's all she wants to do. That's all Daphne wants to do is just go up and smell them occasionally. She'll go up and smell them, and they don't react. They don't run. They don't smack at her. They don't do anything. They just let her do her thing, and she goes on. Daphne only chases if something runs. And Midnight, he will actually sleep with Daphne. Like, he would cuddle up with Daphne. And, I guess Daphne's like a big heating blanket, really. But yeah. I don't know, like, if you got I've seen it both ways. I've seen some cats that are terrified of dogs, and some that are indifferent. I've had my house since 2006. And I had a cat that actually died. It died, I guess, 2 years ago now. It was 16. And, of course, it was alive when I had Roscoe the dog, and also for Daphne the dog. And it never liked either one of them. Didn't want anything to do with either one of them. If they even got close to try to sniff, it would be hissing and trying to claw them and running. It just never adapted. And I'd had another cat I had gotten after that one. It was an older cat I took in. And I guess it had been around dogs too. I don't know, but like it never had a problem with. It would be like Midnight is with Daphne now. Like it would go and sleep with Roscoe, cuddle up with it. Speaking of dogs, we got the attention of those over there, over hollering at us. But yeah, but that cat was super friendly with dogs. And of course, the two now are, but like my parents' cats, I mean, they've been around dogs because my parents have a dog, and of course Daphne goes down there all the time. So like their cats, since they were kittens, have been around dogs, and yet they still don't like them. So it's just weird. It's weird how some cats will acclimate and be perfectly comfortable around dogs, and yet other ones, from the time they're a kitten, like you're raising them with a dog, and they still don't want anything to do with them. That rod got hit, got bumped. He hit it and quit it. Tapped it and scrapped it. I hope them dogs go back wherever they come from soon. I don't want to listen to them bark the whole time as the wind starts ramping up. It's going to be bad today. It's going to be 20 plus mile an hour gusts this afternoon is what they're calling for, so it's going to be rough. But flat calm first thing this morning, so I wanted to get out and try to catch some fish while we can. If it picks up too much, my dumbbell probably won't hold. It's really getting going though. I don't know if y'all can tell on the microphone because my back's to it, but like it's starting to go. if it'll keep blowing this direction, it'll buy us some time because it's not blowing directly up or down the river right now. It's coming in from the side. So it doesn't have a lot of water surface to hit at this point. It's not going to be choppy if it's like this. Yeah, them pets are something else, man. They've quickly adapted, and we quickly adapted to them, and now they're just family. The litter robot is still working out. As that rod got tapped again. He's still back after it. Why don't you eat that thing, fish? Just come up there and nip it. Has he got it that time? I think, oh, he's got it that time now. Now he's got it. Finally, let's reel us another one in. It's been a hot minute, man. We had a little gap between fish. Yeah, this one here, he's skinny, but he's a little bit longer. Well, I'll throw him on the board. I don't think he's going to get there where we want, but we'll take a peek. I haven't submitted any fish for the May tournament yet, so I need to do something to get on the board, but I just don't want to bother with turning in fish that I know aren't going to help me at the end of the month. That hook's in a bad spot. Look how it's coming out right there. I got to be careful with this fish. I don't want to wear that hook. He's a longer fish. Let me just see. He's skinny, but he's long. Let me just see what we got going here. Put your fin down there, fish. Let me. Well, if he would not do that, where I could get maximum length out of him, he might go. He is 28 inches. I'm not going to fool with it. If it was later in the month and we didn't have a limit, I probably would, but at this stage, this early in the month of May, and just knowing that if we have that fish on our score, we lose, I don't want to fool with it. This smaller bluegill here would probably just cut him in half, maybe. I wish that dog up there would hush its pie hole, hush its dog food hole. I'm gonna toss that piece out too. All right. I'm hoping too, I mean, like I said, the wind's gonna be up today. I'm hoping we're about done with the wind. It has been a really windy spring here. Normally, every March and early April in East Tennessee is very windy every year. But we've had this wind persist the entire month of April. And now here we are into May and we're having a lot of wind. I'm hoping it goes on at some point here soon, because I'm ready to. I like it being calm. I know windy days can help you in some situations, but from a personal enjoyment perspective, I like it being a little calmer. I like to fish when I want to and not have to fish around the wind. Y'all got water on the lens? You do, don't you? I got some on my face too. There you go. Y'all cleaned off now. Them dogs still up there. I saw them earlier, but they didn't see me apparently. Now that they see me, they're gonna sit up there and bark nonstop. The other thing about the wind is it's knocked me out of a lot of days I really wanted to go ultralight fishing. Like I've taken my ultralight rod quite a bit on bait runs if I'm going out and netting shad, but like I can't do like a full ultralight session like I'd want to, because I'm having to just kind of do it sporadically when I can get in a pocket or a wind protected area. I'd like to just get out there and be able to go where I want to go and work that jig effectively. But it's tough, man. The wind's blowing, blows your line, and them light jigs, it's hard to get them where you want. Missing some opportunities here, especially with our water being up. It's normally mid-May when they get our water level back up to summer pool. But this year, they've had us back up already for like a couple weeks. So I don't know why that is, but I'm hoping that they're not gonna lower it anymore. Like I'm hoping that we're up for the summer. I don't think they would lower it down just to raise it back up again in another week or two. So I'd say we're probably up. But now, like with the water being up, we can access pretty much anywhere we would want. I just can't get a break from the wind when I've wanted to go ultralighting. That dog over there, man, he's fixated on us. He's sitting there between them bushes just looking at us and barking. Here comes the wind. I hope that wind ain't getting all over the microphone. I got the fancy pants microphone today since we're doing an unedited video. On the days I've been doing edited videos, I've went back to GoPro because the video footage is better. But days where I'm doing unedited videos, I need the microphone. And so what I really need is the DJI camera because it won't overheat long periods of time, and I can use the microphone easily with this via Bluetooth. It blows my mind, man. It's 2025. And yet GoPro still overheats and you still can't hook microphones via Bluetooth. Like you would think GoPro would come out with their own microphones by now. Like I get them not wanting you to use a DJI microphone with GoPro or a Rode wireless microphone with GoPro. Like I get having to buy an adapter to do it. But why not just GoPro just make their own microphone system, and then they can take some market share away and make that money. Instead of people buying these other companies' microphones, they can buy it from them. If they could do that and fix the overheating problem, they've already got the best video footage. Like fix those two things, and man, they would be, but no. 2025, same issues. So I switch back and forth between the cameras. Today I'm doing the DJI with the DJI Mic 2, and I edited like the piebald video there I did with the GoPro, which I'm thankful that I had the GoPro that day because I got better, and the lighting was terrible. You know, it was low light when I got that fish, but still the pictures I got from it off the GoPro was way better than what I would have gotten with the DJI. So I'm thankful I had the GoPro that day. That piebald, man, that was such a cool fish. I've caught 5 of them now. My first one was with Zach Royce on Lake Gaston. I think I looked it up that day. I think it was 2017, I think I got that. So 8 years ago. And since then, I've caught 2 on Watts Bar and 2 on Nickajack. And I'm on Watts Bar today. That's where I got that piebald the other day. But I've only caught 5 in my life, man. I'm 43. Like, it's one of those really rare catches. And it's totally luck. Like, it's a lucky catch. There's not skill to it. I mean, you got to use a little bit of skill to put yourself in position to catch fish, just period. But catching the piebald is luck. I mean, it's all luck. I said that day, I'm going to stop and get me a lottery ticket and a scratcher on the way home. I ended up getting me 2 scratchers on the way home, and I tried filming it. I thought, I'm going to film myself. This is going to be part of the video. I'm going to film myself scratching off these tickets. Well, I was in the truck, and it was hot by the time that point in the day, so I had the truck on and the air conditioner going. And I pulled out my phone. I set my phone up there while I'm scratching off them scratch-off tickets. And I'll be damned if I didn't lose the audio. Apparently, my phone was connected to the truck with Apple CarPlay. And I guess when you have it connected via CarPlay and you film a video on your phone, it just films it in mute. I had no audio. I had the video, I had no audio. It was the damnedest thing, so I couldn't add that into the video after all. One of them tickets didn't hit for nothing, and the other one hit for $10. I'd bought 2 $5 tickets, so I basically got my money back. I told that fella at the counter, I said, man, it's my lucky day. Give me 2 winning tickets. But he was busy flirting with this fat girl that was in line too. He was talking about her dress and how his daughter had a similar dress to that, and like, you could tell he was into her, but how he was going about it was kind of creepy. And I don't know if he ended up scoring her digits or not. I don't know, but he was way more into her than to picking me out some winning lottery tickets. So hopefully he got luckier with her than what I got on them dang tickets. I mean, in a job like that, like he's at a gas station, he's a cashier there. He's seeing people come in all day long. If he was to hit on every girl that come in, obviously he had low standards, because this girl that he was going after wasn't the cream of the crop, you know what I mean? Like, on a 1 to 10 scale, if she's hitting 10, it's because she's about 2 5s or something. I mean, she was low down on the scale. But like, if he just hits on every girl that walks in the door, and you figure if you're day shift at a gas station, like, you're seeing a lot of people come in. So let's say he sees 20 customers an hour and he's there 8 hours. That's 160 customers. Let's figure half of those are women, so that's 80 women. I don't know what percentage of that 80 would be single or interested in him at all, but let's say he just hits on all 80 of them. Surely to goodness, out of 80 women a day he's hitting on, 1 or 2 is going to say yes. right? Like, I mean, sure, I mean, it's a numbers game. Like, if you flirt with 80 women, sure, a lot of them are going to be married, not be interested. A lot of them are not going to be into him, whether it's just because he was a creepy looking guy or the fact he's a, middle-aged man hitting on a woman at a gas station type thing. A lot of women ain't going to be into that. But I mean, just stepping up to the plate and taking your swings. I mean, granted, again, this girl wasn't attractive, and how he was going about it was, even as a bystander to me, like creepy / laughable. But just playing the odds, man. Just playing the odds. I have to believe it's working out for him, at least a little bit. So hats off to him. He was clearly a confident guy. He didn't care about the fact that there was an audience watching him flirt with this girl. Confidence will go a long way in life, folks. Not just with women, but just anything. I mean, you can say anything with confidence and people will believe it. I could tell you the sky's red, and if I said it in such a way that sounded like it was coming from authority and from an educated whatever, like, what I'm trying to say. Like, if you say something in a way that's believable, people will believe it, even if it's obviously not true. That's a skill. That's definitely a skill. My BS meter, though, is a little bit, it's not so good with women, but with men, I can see through things a lot better. I'll give you for instance. So it ain't been recent now. I recently talked to this guy, but the test was months ago. I had a sleep test done. I don't sleep worth a damn. I do. Well, I sleep worth a damn. I sleep good until I wake up, and then I can't go back to sleep. So I only sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night anymore. Now, I don't know why this is. It's just begun the last year or so that I can't hardly sleep worth a damn. Now, my girlfriend says I snore. And she says I'll oftentimes wake myself up snoring. I'm like, okay, well, it sounds like I got sleep apnea. And that's a little bit odd because, I mean, you look at me and you don't think of somebody that might have sleep apnea, right? Because I'm not overweight. I don't have a large neck or anything. Like, I don't fit the profile that you would typically think of somebody having sleep apnea, but that doesn't mean there are people like me that do have it. So anyway, my doctor sets up a sleep test. And when I think of sleep tests, I think of going into a sleep lab, them hooking you up to a bunch of stuff, and you spending the night there with somebody monitoring you. Well, those sleep labs, they obviously do exist, but this isn't what they set me up with. They set me up with an at-home sleep test. And supposedly it's like 98% effective, they claim. Insurance covers it, so I had to pay, I think my share after insurance was $110, $120, something. It was just over $100 I had to pay. And so we set up the sleep test. Well, they send me this damn thing, and it's a pulse oximeter, like you'd use at a hospital, monitor somebody's oxygen level. That's all it is. Monitors your oxygen level and your heart rate. And I'm like, how the hell is this a sleep test? But nevertheless, I wear the damn thing. I wear it for 2 nights. They give you this pulse ox, and you download an app on your phone, and it connects via Bluetooth to that app, and it logs your stats there while you sleep. So I do that. I mail them the thing back, and I get a call from doctor's office, and they said, well, they want you to redo the test. The results were inconclusive. I'm like, well, how the hell is it inconclusive? I either got it or I don't. Like, it's a yes or no. How is it inconclusive? And so they're reading through the report and like, well, I had like 14 episodes where my oxygen level dropped, and I had like one episode that lasted a few minutes where my oxygen level went down in the 80s. And ideally, you'd want to be 94 and up, by the way, in case you didn't know your oxygen level. So I'm like, well, that sounds pretty damn conclusive to me. But again, it's a damn pulse ox that I'm wearing. And so I'm like, before we go, giving me a damn CPAP machine and going through all that, like, I feel like, hey, it's just, I don't trust the damn pulse ox. Because, I mean, I was a nurse for a long time before this YouTube crap took off. Man, you put a pulse ox on somebody, if their hands are cold, you don't always get a good reading. My hands stay cold all the time. If it slips on their finger, you can get a bad reading. If you're sleeping and you roll over on your arm and your arm goes to sleep, you're cutting off circulation there, you can get a bad reading. Well, who the hell knows what happened in my situation that night? And here's the other thing. It didn't record both nights. I wore it 2 nights. It only recorded 1. So they say they're going to send me another test. They want me to do it again. I'm like, whatever. Well, I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. I don't ever get it. So I reached back out. I'm like, hey, company never followed up, never got to, let's look into this. Well, the salesman, the sales rep for that sleep test company calls me personally, and he says, oh, I'm so sorry this happened, fell through the cracks, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get this out to you right away. And he went on to tell me about the test not recording and whatnot. He said, we did an app update, and people who had Apple phones, we had a lot of problems during that time period. People had Apple phones, it wasn't recording and blah, 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 blah. So we'll redo the test, no charge to you, and see what the results say on it. Like, fine, whatever. So the company finally does follow up. They call me back, set up the test, and they say, well, you've already had a test done previously, and insurance only pays for this once a year. So it was going to be like $300 and something. And so old Javier on the phone, and of course he barely speaks English, I let him know, like, no, I've already paid for this test once before. My insurance paid for it, and y'all screwed it up. Your app update messed things up, and we're going through this second test again because we had a problem with the first test on y'all's end. It's your mess up, not mine, and I was told y'all were going to take care of this. Well, Javier's trying to argue with me because he don't know a damn thing, including English. And so he ends up going and gets supervisor, and hold on, we got a fish. Nope, we don't. Daggone fish teased me. So Javier goes and gets a supervisor, and here's the compromise they've come up with. It's like, well, here's what we'll do. We will knock off the part that you owe if you'll just pay what insurance would pay. So it's going to be $200 something. I said, hell no. I ain't paying you a damn dime. I'm not doing it. Like, y'all screwed this up. I shouldn't have to pay for your all's mistakes. So I called my doctor's office back. I'm like, look, here's the situation. Javier wants me to pay and I ain't paying, so I ain't doing this damn test again. I'll just wait until the insurance cycles over again and they're paying for another test next year and we'll go to a real sleep test. So they reach out to the company. They reach out to their sales rep guy. And he calls me back. He's like, oh, you know, sorry this happened. We're going to get this taken care of. I'm on it today. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So a day passes, 2 days passes, 3 days pass. I'm not hearing anything from the company again. And I'm like, what's the dealio? This guy was supposed to be all over it. Well, next thing I know, my doctor's office called me. And they said, so, you know, here's the news we got for you. We've talked to the sales rep and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, I already talked to him. He said, you know, we were going to repeat the test. He was getting it taken care of because, you know, they're trying to charge me or whatever. And she said, well, that's not what he told us. Because she said that he had went back and reviewed my original test, and apparently because they only need 2 hours of sleep to diagnose you, and it had recorded for, I think, 4 hours on that one night that it somehow recorded, that was enough, he felt like, and now they didn't need to repeat it. And I'm like, well, by God, that ain't what he said to me, because I had already had 2 conversations with this guy. And so I'm like, so now they ain't going to do it. And then she said, well, here's what they're willing to do. They're willing to give me a discount on not a CPAP. What's the AutoPAP? I forget what it's called. It's not, you know, CPAP is continuous. This one only kicks in when you need it to, type thing. And I'm like, I don't want to do this if I'm not 100% sure that I need it. And on one hand, the results would suggest that maybe I do, but on the other hand, the app was messed up. When I took the test, it only recorded half the results, and still it's a damn pulse ox on my finger. Like, I move around at night. I could have been laying on my arm. My hands get cold. Could have been any number of reasons for this thing to not read correctly. So anyway, here's where we're at with this situation. I told them to take that test and shove it up their ass. I wasn't doing anything more with that company. I don't trust them. I don't trust the process. I think it's a money grab. I think they need sleazy salesmen like him to go in and swindle these doctors' offices into taking their patients and going to their company and this at-home test instead of doing a real sleep test. And anyway, at this point, we're waiting until until the year mark when the insurance will pay again, and I'm going to go do a real sleep test. But where I was going with all of this, going back to as far as speaking with confidence and stuff, if you talk with confidence and you're smooth and you can just talk in general, you can sell anything. And this guy, this sales rep for the sleep test company, when I'm interacting with him there, like I can tell, man, like I'm reading through his bullshit. Like I can see right through him, but the average person probably wouldn't. He's just a smooth talking guy, got an answer for everything before you ask the question, obviously likes to talk and smooth people. And you know who he honestly reminded me of? I was thinking this the whole time I was talking to him. Each time I talked to him, I was thinking this. He reminded me of Pro Moderator. Because Pro Moderator's the same damn way. He can sell anything. And that's what Pro Moderator does real estate development now. But he used to be a medical device salesman. Basically the same type of thing that this guy is. Same sleazy salesman type people in all them industries. But same deal. And Pro Moderator's the same way. Now, I like Pro Moderator, don't get me wrong. He's a friend of mine and whatnot, good guy. But where I was going with, and I'm sure this salesman guy's probably a good guy too, but it's a skill, being able to talk, being able to speak with confidence, it's a skill. And if you learn that skill, you can apply that to whether it's selling stuff, teaching, picking up women at a gas station as a convenience store clerk. Like, you can apply it to a bunch of different aspects of life. It can take you a long ways. But this company, man, I'm telling you, if you're out there, if you're having trouble sleeping, go get a real sleep test. Don't do one of these at home, wear a pulse ox on your finger test. I don't trust them. I don't trust them one bit. It's just, you know, the pulse ox are accurate for sure, but there's going to be times where it's not accurate for the reasons I described. Maybe it's moved on your finger, your hands are cold, maybe you're a little bit clammy, your hands are wet, you're laying on your arm. I mean, there's so many different reasons why that thing may have a lower value than it should, a false reading. And I just don't trust it. But I do want to sleep better. Like, I want to sleep a full night again. I don't know it just started. It just started in the last year or so. Like, I wake up, we go to bed at, say, 10 o'clock. I'm going to wake up 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm awake. I can lay there, but I ain't going back to sleep. I'm just wide awake. I had heard somebody, I think it was that Andrew Huberman, and I forget what his title is. He's like some kind of like body, like optimizing your body or a longevity type person. I don't know. He's been on Joe Rogan. He's been on a bunch of the fancy podcasts. And one of the things I'd heard him say is that oftentimes if somebody wakes up, like he described what I'm going through. He says it has to do with your circadian rhythm. And he quoted some study, I think it was Stanford or Harvard or one of them big universities. And it was a circadian rhythm thing. And he said what he recommended, what the science suggested was that if you're waking up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, go to bed earlier, because you're apparently burning through your body. And again, I'm no neuroscientist here, so I'm going to butcher this a bit, but like, your body releases melatonin, which helps you fall asleep. And so you're running out of melatonin in the middle of the night and you're waking up. And so you need to go to bed earlier, which, I mean, that's not always convenient. I don't want to go to bed at 8 p.m. Hell, oftentimes we don't even eat dinner till 8 p.m. You know what I mean? So it's not really convenient, but used to it and it wouldn't be a problem. I mean, I'd go to bed and I'd sleep till the alarm went off. And now I pretty much wake up before my alarm about every day. I rarely sleep well. I can't even remember the last time I slept a full night. And then I end up getting tired earlier in the day. And most of the time I'll just power. Sometimes I'll take a nap. Most of the time I just power through it. But I'd like to believe if I didn't snore and wake myself up, that maybe I would just stay asleep. I don't know. But because I've wasted my You know, in these sleep center places, like, they're more expensive, and, you know, I could cover it out of pocket, but I shouldn't have to. This company, with their lousy tests, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they should refund me and the insurance company. That way I could go to a real sleep center and have my insurance cover their part again. I'm honestly surprised insurance companies do it once a year. I would think that'd be once every few years. It's a bad diagnosis to have on your insurance, though, because there's so many. If you've got sleep apnea, you're at risk for so many different things. And in my situation, I have a private insurance policy. Because with me doing this YouTube, like, I'm self-employed basically. I'm an independent contractor, so I have to have my own insurance. I don't have a company provided insurance plan. And every year when my insurance policy renews, one of two things happens. Either one, my premium goes up, or two, the premium stays the same, but my deductible goes up. Either way, they're making sure, like, because they know I'm getting older, and the older you get, none of us are making it through this life unscathed. Like, you're going to have medical problems if you just keep living. So the insurance company knows this, and they're going to adjust your either deductible or your premium to make sure that they're offsetting their risks. And I have a feeling that if you get diagnosed with something like a sleep apnea, that your premiums and your deductibles are going to be going up at a higher clip than what they normally would. So, won't be an issue here in a few months. I'm getting married there October, and so I'll be, you know, my girlfriend has a corporate job, so I'll get on her insurance plan then. But still, man, these insurance companies, I hate the whole insurance process, like the negotiated rates because you got it. Well, give everybody that damn rate. You know, like, you should be able, when you go, whether it's a doctor's office, a hospital, whatever, the pricing of the services they're providing should be known up front. It shouldn't be, well, we're going to charge gazillions of dollars and the insurance is only going to pay so much, so that's the actual price, and then you're going to owe the difference of, like, it shouldn't be that way. You should know what you're going to pay up front. And some countries are like that, but not here in America. Everything goes through the insurance, and they've become a middleman, and prices have gone up across the board because of it. Well, that and because of lawsuits. All these malpractice lawsuits, providers order more tests that are unnecessary, really, because it's out of fear of lawsuits. They know if that 1 in 1,000 that they miss, if they miss it because they didn't order this blood work or that CT scan or whatever, then they going to get sued. So they just order the whole shebang on everybody, which runs up a giant bill. And since, insurance is covering a lot of this, then they're going to raise rates for everybody. And it ends up being a situation where we all pay too damn much for health care, and we end up getting very crappy health care services. Because, you get, everybody in the medical field wants to pass the buck, right? You go to your primary care doctor 30 years ago, fish. I'll reel in a fish here before I go on a rant about how bad the healthcare system sucks in America. This fish ain't got a damn thing to say about it. Oh, looky there, perfect. We reeled him up, we saw him, he wasn't very big, and he let go. Didn't even have to get our hands wet. That's perfect. That's perfect. If all them small ones like that could do that right there, it would be set. But no, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you'd go to the doctor for an ailment, and he would treat the ailment. Now, if it's something severe, you'd have to go to a specialist, sure. But primary care back in the day would handle most ailments. Nowadays, you go to your primary care, they don't want to do a damn thing. They're gonna manage your medicines, but otherwise, you got to go to a specialist for everything. They're passing the buck. They're washing their hands of it, man. You go here, you go here, you go here. You go all these damn different doctors, most of which you don't need. So then when you get somebody that does need to go to see a specialist, they can't get in because they're booked solid, because you got all these other people that's being sent from all these primary care providers that don't really need to go there. But again, that 1 in 1,000 that doesn't get sent to a specialist, or what, then that's when they're going to get hosed on. So it's a broken system. I don't know how you fix it, but it's completely broken. And I wonder, I've talked about this, I remember I talked about this on a video, like what is it going to be like, assuming I live to be elderly age, I hope I do, but what's it going to be like in another 30, 40 years when I am at the age where I got probably a lot of medical problems, having to go to the doctor more frequently and stuff like that? Like, what's it going to be like then? Because we've got a shortage now. We've got a shortage of doctors. We've got a shortage of nurses. Like, people nowadays, we're kind of at a point in society where you need medical care, you can get it. Because even though we're short on nurses and doctors, there's enough. There's enough to make it work. But nowadays, these kids that are growing up now, everybody wants to be an influencer. You know, when I was a kid, obviously, you know, you wanted to be a baseball player, football player, stuff like that. But once you realize that you weren't going to be a professional athlete, you start looking at other careers. And kids wanted to be a doctor. They wanted to be a lawyer. They wanted to be a nurse. These professions, you know, your traditional professions. The kids today, ain't nobody wants to be who the hell wants to be a doctor today? You want to go through all these years of medical school, take on a ton of debt, a ton of stress, a ton of liability, when you could just be shaking your ass on the TikTok and making more money? Who the hell wants to do it? These kids today don't. So as I age, I look forward, you know, another 20, 30, 40 years as the current people in the workforce, the current nurses, doctors, etc., as they age out and get into retirement age, who's coming up behind them to take their place? Who the hell wants to do it? I don't see it. Unless we change our ways in society and start rewarding these professions that actually do something for society, I don't see it changing back. I mean, I'll tell you firsthand, again, I was a nurse prior to this YouTube taking off. I would much rather be out here fishing today than to be in the ER at work. I'd much rather do this, and I make more money doing this than what I was making as a nurse. So why the hell would I want to go back to that? And that's what these kids growing up now are going to realize is like, yeah, what, you want to go to school? You want to go to college? You want to take on a bunch of debt and come out making a job or making a wage at a job that's less than what you could be making just making videos, doing whatever it is you like? I mean, it's just, we got a fish here hitting that one. There he goes. There he goes. We got another one. There we got another one. We got some more working through here, folks. We've had a drought, but the other fish hit a little while ago, and now we got this one, so. Oh, that one's hooked good, though. That last fish should have taught this one how to give us the fight without getting fully hooked. Look at this one. Y'all, I think this one's been bit. Let me get him in here. I want to show you this. This fish, he's another one that's too small for our slot tournament, but look at his belly. Here and here and there. It's almost like something bit him. I could be wrong. It could just be some rash or something, but it's almost like he got bit. I don't know about you fish. You might be a survivor, buddy. You might be a lucky fish. I had that happen one time. I got the video of it too. I had a fish, all of a sudden felt like it got bigger. And I fought that thing and it was a battle. And I got it up almost the kayak and it just suddenly let go. And I reel up and I've got just a little 3 or 4 pound blue cat on my line. And he had a mark like that. And I guess what had happened is I had hooked the smaller blue cat, and probably when I hooked him, he got all started acting the fool, you know, because he was hooked, and something ate him and clamped down on him. And I fought him all the way up without the bigger fish being hooked, and he finally let go. That video, it's an older video. It's on my channel. That was a crazy situation. Yeah, folks, I don't know, man. I don't know what society's going to be like 30, 40 years from now. I mean, of course, technology's getting better. You got the AI, so maybe that replaces a lot of the things that doctors would do as far as diagnosing and you know, evaluating tests and stuff like that. Who knows? Here's our big problem right now, though, modern day society. This wind is now coming upriver this way. It's ramping up. It's going to start to get choppy here before long, folks. I don't know what it's blowing right now. Definitely over 10. But as it continues to ramp up, we start hitting closer to 20. If it's coming this direction, it's going to be super choppy. So I'm going to give it a little while longer, though. Finally, I feel like we're maybe getting some more fish working through here. We're due for a good one. We're due for a quality fish. Due for a flathead, too. I guess I can get rid of my sunglasses again now that it's clouded up. But yeah, you know, it's just society as a whole right now, our priorities are jacked up, man. And listen, I'm the pot calling the kettle black here because I'm fully taking advantage of it doing this whole influencer crap, right? Like I left a job that was valuable to society to do this crap, which provides no value at all except to myself. So I know I'm sounding like a hypocrite when I say it, but we've got to, as a society, get back to placing value on jobs that provide a greater good, provide a service to humanity, not shaking your ass on TikTok or reeling in a fish on YouTube. And listen, I'm maybe underselling it a little bit. There's obviously some value to be had on YouTube, maybe from an entertainment perspective or educational perspective, sure. But I just don't see it. I don't see the path we're on ending well as we go forward in society. I don't know who's going to, when I'm 70, 80 years old and I have health problems, assuming I live that long, I don't know who the hell is going to take care of me in a hospital. If I get sick and I got to go to the hospital, who the hell is going to take care of me? I don't know. I guess some robot, probably. I'm just not as sold. I mean, I may end up looking dumb for saying this. But I'm not sold on AI taking over the world. I mean, I've used the Chat GPT, and, you know, I'm fascinated by it, but I'm like, and I guess because I'm just stupid. I'm not a tech person. I'm not tech savvy at all. Can barely operate my phone. I just don't see the leap from Chat GPT to computers taking over everything. I'm just struggling to see, and you know, if I let my mind go to fantasy land, sure. But when I really sit down and think about it from a pragmatic standpoint and be like, what can computers really replace? Like, you know, you can, in theory, you could take somebody's x-rays, CT scans, PET scans, and stuff like that, and maybe have a computer read those and diagnose. But when it comes to like hands-on care, I don't know that you can replace that. Like, I don't think you're going to get to a point where a robot's going to come in and draw your blood and, you know, hook you up for breathing treatment if you need it. Like, I just don't see that happening. Like, I don't see those jobs being replaced by AI and robots and stuff. Like, I just don't see that happening. So you're going to have some people to do it, and people that are willing to do it. People that are willing. I mean, I almost feel like, and it's a slippery slope to go down. I almost feel like, though, if you're going into a career field, whether it's college or a trade school, vocational school, it doesn't matter. But if you're doing something that is needed, let's say, you know, in my case, nursing, right? Like, I took on a bunch of debt to go to nursing school back in the day. But maybe it's not nursing. Maybe you want to be a plumber. You're going to a trade school. You're learning plumbing, or be an electrician, or a welder. You know, some skill, some form. I'm not talking about like a degree in English or humanities, some waste of time degree, but like something that you are going to be learning, a valuable skill that's going to help humanity. If you're doing that, or if you're wanting to do that or willing to do it, I feel like those programs should be free. If you want to become a plumber and you're willing to put in the work to learn how to do it, you shouldn't be held back because of money. Now, if you want to study Amazon history, Amazon rainforest history or, you know, the life and times of President Carter or some degree of just some stupid ass degree, then by all means, you should have to pay to go to college to take that crap. Because when you get out, your degree's worthless. You know, it's not going to amount to anything. So I don't have any sympathy for them people that have gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over a degree that's useless. Like, they shouldn't have known. Just having a college degree don't mean you're smart. So just because they have a degree, they should have known that they were going to come out of college either 4 or 6 years later, depending on how far they've went with it, and have a degree that would give them no skills in life whatsoever. Like, they should have known that. So if they choose to take on all that debt to go learn about something that's not applicable in the real world, well, that's on them. But I don't think if you're going to go to become a doctor or a nurse or a plumber or electrician or a welder or something that's a valuable skill, I just don't feel like you should have to take on a ton of debt for that. Now, I'm not saying just pass these people through and give them a degree or a certificate or whatever they need. Like, I'm not saying that at all. They need to put in the work while they're in the program. Don't just hand out medical licenses. But I don't think people should be saddled with debt while they do it or when they come out. I'd rather people have their education paid for while they're going through it. That way they can focus on getting their education. Hell, I had to work full time when I went to college. Because, I mean, I had bills. I wasn't smart enough to get any scholarships. And, you know, I fill out that FAFSA form and whatnot, but, you know, my parents weren't rich by any stretch, but they made just enough money that I couldn't qualify for financial aid. So I had to pay for all that. And so I had to work. So I worked full time going to college. And, you know, it would have been such a huge burden off of me. I would have gotten more out of the schooling if I wasn't having to work full time to pay for it while I was going through it. And I think that would be the case for most people, regardless of your whatever it is that you're going to school for, or whatever type of school that you're doing. So I don't know, man. I don't know where society's going, but I you know, back to, like, if you got some degree in fine arts, I don't think your student loans ought to be forgiven. You ought to just suck it up and pay for that. You made a dumb decision, and being dumb, it's costly. It's expensive. So suck it up and deal with it. But I don't know, man. I just think when I really start thinking about it, sometimes I just lose hope for the future. I got hope I'm going to catch this fish right here, though. Yep, I'm going to catch this, unless y'all want to reel it in for me. That'd be all right, too. Oh, he's going to pull a little bit now. Did he get my anchor rope? It kind of feels like he's in my anchor rope. How did he do that when he's over here? He's in my anchor rope, folks. We had done so good. Okay, there he come. There he come out of it. We had done so good today keeping fish out of it. He ain't very big either. We've had the dinks today. We've had a case of the dinks. Where's the big uns at today, Blue Kitty? Why don't you tell Big Mama to come on down? She don't like bluegill? She says she holding out for a skipjack? Go on then. Big Mama ain't getting no skipjack today because we ain't got none to give. Oh, another one ate the head though. Give another head on there. I'll tell you what we'll do with this one too. We'll obviously put the head on this rod, but we'll switch out that other chunk over there. It's been a little while, seems like, so we'll go ahead and put a chunk on too. All right. I ain't fooling with cutting them fins off this time. I'm just gonna put them on as is. I probably ain't gonna fish much longer, y'all. The wind is continuing to ramp up. I don't like the direction it's coming because it's coming upriver. So as the wind increases in speed and the current going against it increases in speed, it's going to continue to get choppier and choppier, which will make it more and more difficult for us to catch fish doing this method. This suspend fishing method is not particularly effective. Well, our leader was all wrapped around her sinker. That may be part of the problem. But this method's not very effective in choppy conditions. When your baits are bouncing up and down, it really ain't. It's not the thing to do. But it's what I was in the mood to do today. I wanted to do some suspending today. So it's what we were going to do, by gosh. Apparently, okay, there we go. Got our line all around our rod tip up there. All right, well, we got 2 fresh baits on, so see what happens with that. I need to blow my nose here too, folks. I tell you, that wind, if the wind wasn't blowing, it'd be fine. But the fact the wind is blowing, it's making it feel a little cooler than it actually is. That and the fact that the sun's blocked out by the clouds. This makes it feel a little chilly. I gotta stop at the store on my way home too. We fixed steak last night. I went to go to the fridge, get the blue cheese and Heinz 57, because I like Heinz 57 with my steak. I like blue cheese on there and I like Heinz 57. I was out of Heinz 57. So I gotta stop at the store because I can't be out again. I tried putting some girlfriend, she's got some kind of, I guess some kind of noodle sauce in there, like a Korean barbecue type thing. I tried a little bit of that on my steak. I couldn't hardly eat it. I'm a creature of habit. I find something I like, I stick with it. And I like the Heinz 57 and blue cheese. I thought I had another bottle of Heinz 57, but I didn't. I know y'all care so much about this too. We've at that point in time, man, the conversation, it takes a turn when I've run out of stuff. What all have we talked about today? Sleep test, how society's going to run out of healthcare workers, how I'm going to lose the slot tournament again this month, how we've caught several fish today. Not one single fish helped us on our score. Had that one there that was just over 30 inches by a hair. Could have turned in that 28 incher, but again, if I got that on my score at the end of the month, we lose, so why bother? I literally had one fish under 29 inches in the month of April on my score, and I lost. I was feeling so good that day though, because I was fishing it was April 30th, the last day of the month, and I come out, I was losing, and I caught 2 fish that improved my score, and I took the lead, and I was like, man, I got this. And that other fellow went and caught 3 fish over 29 inches in the afternoon and passed me up. I was like, yep, ain't meant to be. It looks like it could start pouring down rain at any time too, but I ain't felt it sprinkling no more. I can't get hold of my phone either. That's one thing for sure I would miss about this kayak, if I did choose to get rid of it over, say, that native Slayer, is it's got this, I don't know if you can see here, this pocket area under the seat, and I put my sunglasses, phone, I keep a towel tucked in there. It's really helpful, really helpful. Yeah, we do got some. We got a little bit of rain in the area, it's not bad. Nothing right on top of us, so I think we're good. I ain't too concerned about that. More concerned about that dang wind. It's just, I don't know how well the motion stabilization on the camera can kind of hide it a little bit, but your baits are down there just bouncing. And that makes it tough. The wind initially was, I think when we got out here, it was kind of blowing downstream, and then it was kind of, I know for a while, when it first started getting going, it was coming from behind us, like across the channel here, and we were fine with that. Like, I could feel the wind ramping up, but like it wasn't causing us to bounce. Now, with it blowing how it is, our baits are sitting down there rocking. I mean, it's a good 6-8 inches it's moving us, and so it just gets hard to tempt a fish to eat that bait when it's just bouncing there like that. Normally in this situation, if you're in choppy water, what I like to do, if you're anchor fishing, cast your baits out. Now, I don't want to cast out right now because the current ain't enough to it's just, we would really need a 2 anchor system, which I don't like doing in a kayak anyway, but to be able to position us how we would need to cast our baits out where we want them. The other thing you can do is drag and just let out more line to compensate, because your mono's got some stretch in it, and you let out enough line, even in choppy water, your bait can pull through very smoothly. You won't have all that herky-jerky motion like we're having right now. So that's typically what I would do in choppier conditions. Like I said, suspend fishing, it's not the end-all be-all technique. Like, it's not suitable in all situations, whether it be like right now, choppy conditions, or if you're fishing really shallow water, that type of thing, or if the current is really strong, it can be hard to suspend because you can't really keep your lines vertical if the current's too strong. I mean, you can put more weight on and keep it down to a point, but there's a time when it's just too much. So, but boy, I tell you this, when I can suspend, I love it. I want to. I mean, even the fish we've caught today, like that 30-incher was the biggest one we've got. But the takedowns, when we got 25 feet of line out roughly, the takedowns are pretty daggone awesome, even on the small fish. You hook a big one with that short of line out, man, it's a good time. And when I go to the smaller kayak like that, the Hobie Lynx, or if we get that native Slayer at some point, man, you talk about going on a sleigh ride. The lighter weight the kayak, the shorter length the kayak, the more you're going to get that sleigh ride. The more they're going to be able to spin you and tow you. Like, that's fun. You get that more so when you're drifting. I mean, when we're anchored down, they can spin the kayak around a little bit, but they can't really tow us all over creation. But when you're drifting like that, it's fun. Get some bird up here. Hey, oh, we don't crap on our head. Can't tell. I'm looking up in the light. I can't tell if that's a buzzard or a hawk. I'll tell you this, man, I'm cold. I should have left my sweatshirt on. Well, what I should have done, I should have took my sweatshirt off, pedaled down here, and then put it on. I made the mistake. I started out in the sweatshirt, and you know, you're pedaling, you're expending some energy. You get hot, and you take it off, and now you've sat here in this wind a little while, and I'm cold. We heated up, man. It was like summer. It was like 80-something degrees there a couple weeks ago. And now we've come back down to reality. Thankfully, I mean, we're past the frost point at this point in time. Don't have to worry about my garden. I got my garden going pretty good. My peas are getting tall. I got them climbing up a trellis. I got my cucumbers. I planted them by seed. They sprouted. I bought pepper plants and tomato plants. I bought them, so they were already bigger, but they're growing a lot. And then I planted some watermelon seeds. I got them sugar, I want to say sugar mama. I think it's sugar babies. They're smaller melons. I'm going to train them to grow up a trellis as well. And then I planted sunflowers from seeds too that I harvested last year from a couple of my biggest sunflower plants. And so everything's coming up. Really, the only thing I got left to plant, if I find some poblano peppers, I'm going to get a couple of those. I've been to Rural King. They didn't have any. I went to Mayo's Garden Center. They didn't have any. Only place I got left to go check is flea market. Sometimes the Mexicans at the flea market will have them. But I've left a space in my garden for a couple of those if I can find them. If I don't, I'll probably just plug in a couple other pepper plants there. And I need to plant some marigolds too around my tomatoes to help keep the bugs away. But beyond that, I'm pretty well done with it. I'm doing the raised bed garden again. I built that raised bed last year, and I really like it. It's so much easier to keep control of the weeds because you're dealing with a smaller area. You don't have to bend over as far as like getting the weeds and picking stuff. Like it's really worked out. And obviously, since you're adding the soil and compost and everything, you can make the soil better. I used to till up a big area beside my house and plant a more traditional garden, but it's time consuming to do a bigger garden. And I was planting all this stuff, and I just wasn't. You only eat so much. And I was giving a bunch of it away. I was damn near begging people to take stuff and just composting a lot of it, just throwing it away. And then you spend all that time out there hoeing and trying to keep the weeds away for the plants that you ain't hardly even eating the stuff off of. It's like, is this really the best use of my time? I want to grow stuff because I like growing stuff. It's fun. But I don't need that much. So last year going to the raised bed garden, it really helped me kind of get down to just what it was that I wanted to eat. And even then I had too much. So this year I'm doing even less. And also too, last year with my first year in that raised bed, I couldn't, when I planted the stuff, I couldn't envision in my mind what it was going to look like when everything was fully grown. And so I ended up kind of overcrowding things a little bit. Oh, something hit me. Something hit me hard then. Oh, come on now. Oh, he let go. Dang, I thought we was going to get us another one. I'd like to go out with a fish here. If we caught another, Lord, I about got choked up. Still about choked up. Swallowed some pollen or something. Goodness gracious. I was going to say if I could get another fish, I'd probably just call it. End this video on a fish. Go pedal a little while and warm up. But after last year, with the raised bed garden, I was able to see what fully grown plants are going to look like in there. So I've cut back a little bit. Last year I had 3 tomatoes and 10 peppers in addition to the peas and cucumbers. And so this year I'm only doing 2 tomatoes. And thus far I've only planted 4 pepper plants. But like I said, I will go add a couple poblanos if I can find some, and if not, I'll probably do a couple more bell pepper plants just to fill that space I've left for them there. But I think this year it'll be a lot better, at least as far as how it looked. I mean, last year things were a little bit overcrowded, but I mean, it was fine. It didn't affect the plants or anything. I mean, I had way more peppers and tomatoes and cucumbers and all that than what I could actually eat. But just from cosmetically, it looked, especially toward the end of summer, it looked like it was just blah, you know, like it looked bad. I want it to look good. I'm also too this year I've made some tomato cages myself. You can buy them little tomato cages with the prongs, you know, but they're never tall enough. Your tomato plants outgrow them in no time. So last year I took some wood and made some that were like 7 foot tall. So your tomatoes grow, it would be supported all the way up. Well, those didn't age very well. So this year I took some fencing material. I expanded my fence around my property last fall. And so I had some fencing left over, and I've taken some of that and I've made some wire cages. It's going to be a little bit more heavy duty. Still not as tall as I need them to be, but they'll be a little bit more heavy duty for the tomatoes. I haven't put them up yet. My tomatoes are still small. I bought tomato plants at the store, and they were like the $3.98 plants there at Home Depot. They weren't like the really big ones, but they weren't real small either. But I pruned the stems off the tomato plants, all except the very top of it, and then I planted the whole stem under the dirt there to help with the root system. But now, you know, they're starting to get a little bigger there at the top, so I'll probably do another 2 or 3 weeks before I put them cages on, when it starts needing some support. I had to put some dust on there too, some of that sieving dust. I had something. I couldn't figure out what it was. I ain't seeing anything, but something was eating my cucumber leaves. I've got them on the very end of the bed, and I'm gonna train them to climb up that trellis too. I got that trellis I got peas on one side and cucumbers on the other, but something was eating the leaves of the cucumbers. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and put some of that, I don't know if it's called Seven Dust or Seven Dust. I don't know. It's spelled like seven, but I think it's pronounced Seven, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But I put some of that on there and all around the garden, or the bed, raised bed there. Hopefully kill off whatever them bugs are it's messing up the plants. Y'all tell that wind to stop. It is cold. I care more about being cold at this point than I do the rods bouncing up and down. I did have higher hopes today coming out though. I thought, I mean, truth be told, I've probably caught, as far as numbers go, a comparable amount of fish as what I got there on the last trip, but I guess I just had higher hopes today. We haven't got as good a quality, at least thus far, as the last trip, and we haven't got a flathead, which I got too, so. It was worth coming out here. It's worth giving it a shot again, just to see what was going on. The weather could certainly be playing a factor in the fish today. Our bait selection, with us only having bluegill, could have played a role in it. But hasn't been the day that I had hoped for on size or quantity. Not been a bad day though. I mean, we've at least caught something. Oh, oh, oh. Will he stay hooked up? Come on up here, fish. The old bluegill head eating thing. He ain't gonna be big as nothing either. Shake that hook off there, fish. Tell him shake that hook free. That may be the smallest one of the day. You're getting smaller, not bigger. Now he's actually, I was trying to shake him free here. Hell, the damn thing's hooked in the eyeball. See, this fish is gonna need to see the eye doctor and he ain't gonna be able to get into it. You're gonna have to set an appointment and wait 3 months, fish. There you go. Old one eye there now. We've blinded him. He'll probably sue me for it. Well, y'all, I was kind of wanting to go out on a bang, end on a fish, if you will, and I think that's going to be the one. He wasn't very big, but I think he's going to be the one we go out on. The wind, you know, it's ramping up here. It's getting worse. It's going to get far worse than this today, and the way it's blowing up river here, it's just, we're just going to be bouncing, you know, and I think that's going to affect our bite, which, at least for size of fish, ain't been good this morning anyway. We've got numbers of fish today, but we just ain't got the quality that I wanted today. So I think I'm gonna get on out of here, hopefully warm up a little bit on the pedal back to the car and let Mother Nature do her thing today. So anyway, thank you for coming with me today. Thank you for listening to me vent and rant about anything and everything. It's just like I always say, these uncut, unedited videos, it's like you were here with me. The same crap you're hearing me talk on camera, it'd be the same crap you'd be listening to in real life if you was sitting here right beside me. So thanks for putting up with me. I'll see you next time.